that safe, thanks to uh, a lot happening in our previous game where Frick took on the challenge of fighting a Cyclops one-on-one fist fight, beat the ever-living tar out of him, winning the group access to portals that connect to almost every inner plane. And then Michael ran off from the group. They chased him down right as he was opening up a portal to the abyss for reasons he refused to explain. But they did a few things there. Almost got stuck when the portal closed, but the first layer of the abyss is called the plane of portals, and they through the generous use of a number of plot points from Frick and Trevor, they were actually able to get themselves right back into Sigil, which is good because seriously, you were 1 point away from me sending you to Ravenloft.
So was this point the one that I got for kitties?
Yes, that's what altered it enough for me to send you back to Sigil, and not
Point.
and not one of the demi-planes of Ravenloft. And I've got some fun ones that have nothing to do with vampires. You're going one day.
I want to go to the Feywild first, then we can go to Strahdland.
Well, like I said, Jesse's already doing Curse of Strahd, so that wouldn't be any fun for him. Evil Pinocchio
Feywild.
really amuses me.
Wait, what?
Oh my god. I
There
can
are
just imagine the conversation on that one between Geppetto and Pinocchio whenever he
Yeah, there are
Okay,
a
is this
lot.
a regular Geppetto and Pinocchio, or is this the Family Guy Geppetto and Pinocchio?
I don't know
This is
that variation, but there are a lot of demi-planes, and they are inspired by some classical stories. And one day you're going to get to see a few of my favorites. But for now,
But like the classical Pinocchio is horrible.
you
Sorry.
are in Sigil. It has been a few days since your little excursion into the abyss, and it's been interesting because, for one thing, your time with the guild hall, the barracks, that's pretty much run out. You're gonna have to get another place. Because some of you have been doing some odd jobs, you have heard that there might be some chances to get a room and board in exchange for some things. Like there's some elf who's apparently hiring for a job that he has with his company. We'll get into that more later. Because there's another odd thing that's been happening around town. And nobody's exactly sure what happened, but somehow there's at least 1 to 5 crazy people running around the city. They might have either been a group of wizards who were trying to create a new divination potion, or maybe just the apprentice who drank it too soon. We don't know, because when there's a crazy person who can see the future, they're really hard for the harmonium to catch. But this person or persons is running up to random people, screaming or forcefully telling them prophecies, never quite making eye contact, crazy eyes, crazy hair, and then when the guards come for him, he manages to vanish into a crowd, catching a cloak that just blew off of some random person. Like probability is just bending to his will. Only he doesn't seem to know or care what he's doing. So naturally, some of you have had a run-in with him.
Frick, shall we go hunting?
Oh no! This is story time. Please give me just a moment.
Oh.
This isn't. You've only heard the rumors about this particular person. For example, Trevor, you were going to meet Zoriel for some of your. You've been taking up training with a paladin, and when suddenly somebody actually seems to swing down from a sign into your. So he's hanging upside down in your face. And you could have sworn there was nobody there just a moment ago, but here he is, kind of looking at you with those wide, crazy eyes. Actually seems to be blinking irregularly. Ah, the
Gonna
toy
do.
soldier playing in Toy Wars. Broken, no one wants him. But
How?
his playpen burned down, so what does it matter? Replace those broken gears with new broken fears. And then, of course, behind you hear somebody yell, "There he is! Stop him!" And he flips off the sign right as a carriage was passing by, and he's gone.
The fuck?
Michael, you are, well, you're probably, out doing the bardish type of things that you do. Specifically, just playing on street corners for some loose change, or you know, trying to get some new gossip and chatter from the streets. When
Yep.
somebody walks up dropping, uh, well, it didn't sound like it was metal. It could have been a rock or something, or maybe it was a wooden coin. But then he stops and stares at you, much more intensely than anyone else on the street has. So much blood on your hands. You must be drowning in blood. He did. The broken tool. The key that unlocked so many deaths. Now he's a skeleton key. The dark sun hasn't set on you yet. Everything dies given enough time. And then he apparently takes a step to the side and falls through an open manhole that was left open. Nobody really wants to chase him into the sewers.
I'm going to attempt it, just because I need to figure out which door.
Sure. Uh, let's do a dexterity check to see how well you drop into this manhole.
Acrobatics?
Sure.
Fuck!
You sprain your ankle with the landing. You'll take 1 point of damage, which this is a couple of days ago, so actually don't worry about the damage, but you sprain your ankle, and you just kind of hear the laughter as he runs away. You do hear the echo of something about the skeleton key trying to make himself whole again. Frick, you're sitting at a bar. There's some other guy just sitting next to you. Why am I pouring one glass into another? Both of them are good props. There's someone just sitting next to you sipping. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you punched a god? Could you punch him so hard that you brought him to tears? Would you become a god? The god of punching? And then he passes out. Apparently he was just drunk. Kiara, you were making your, delivery of rock pieces, and this you were going to Creever's location. That's the name of the gentleman who is buying parts of you, and he seems to be in the middle of a very intense conversation with a very intense figure who stands about 8 foot tall and is almost as broad. I want you to give me a quick history check, please. Oh, you remember your mentor telling you about the half ogre that you should never get in the way of. And when this individual turns around and glares at you because you're standing in the doorway she wants to walk through, I'll let you choose. You could take the portion of wisdom that says get out of the way of fast moving heavy objects, or you can take the part of wisdom that tells you to not give an inch when something is threatening you. It's not even a roll. You got pretty decent passive wisdom, so what do you do? Kiara, are you there? Okay, that was. We can't hear her, so I am assuming that she's not connected.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Well, that's dumb. I just had headphones on. I hear you. I said I was thinking, but I don't know yet.
Well, you've only got a second because this is a very large, angry half ogre, and you.
Okay.
So stand in her path or get out of her way. I need you to choose now.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna walk kind of out towards the out of the building since I'm in like the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna glare back.
But you do stand aside and let her through the door.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Okay.
at her
All right. She does.
as I get out of the way.
She kind of sneers down at you, but you don't hold any interest for her.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay. Well, and with that, what's everybody up to today?
Michael's trying to get work for the group while also trying to see if he can find any way to further his own, to further the jobs that he's already.
Okay. Well, I did mention, and I should have brought this up again outside of the game, but the Acquisitions Inc. module came available. So, does anyone want to go meet a half elf who is apparently trying to expand his business into Sigil and looking for employees?
Sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, you guys go to this area, and he's you see the individual that you've heard being described pretty easily. He's a half elf wearing very nice plate armor. He doesn't really even look up. He just sort of like motions for the next person to come up.
Michael steps forward and bows his head gently.
And he just says, "So, we are, of course, looking for individuals who could take on some responsibilities. I assume that you've already looked over all the paperwork we gave you yesterday, and you have not met him before. He's just engrossed in his own paperwork and not paying attention to you. So, all you have to do," and he puts a contract in front of you, "is sign here, and you can hold your own franchise of Acquisitions Inc. here in Sigil."
Michael's going to give a cursory glance just to make sure that there's like no fine print that's going to screw him over.
Okay, give me let's call it a quick investigation roll.
I also want to look at my paper that I've been given.
Okay. Each of you do an investigation. This thing is about 25 pages long, and the print is already pretty fine. Is Frick actually needing to make a roll, or is he just flipping through things?
I just met me flipping through.
Okay, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Well, I suppose I thought we covered everything before, but please.
And I've seen on here they said there are 4 ranks. There's sub-intern, intern, grand intern, and sub-employee. Will we just immediately start within the rank 1, or do we just have to earn?
Well, there are, of course, a lot of internships. You could speak with our long-term intern Viari. I think he's been an intern for almost 10 years now.
Oh, okay.
But in this particular case, you will actually be the owners of your own franchise, so people will work for you, and you'll work for me.
All right.
Now, of course, if you
Sure.
want to be an intern for your friends, that's fine. You can start at the very bottom and be the sub intern.
Indeed. And let's see on here. So as you've been given an extraordinary opportunity. There's a note here. So we will notify your next kin 5 copper piece per member. I assume that's just optional.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get to pick, how your, there's different packages for the burial package that we offer, but
Okay.
somehow or another, if your remains are brought back, they will be dealt with whichever way you prefer.
All right, and let's see on this another one. As you perform heroic feats of heroism and score these points, oh wait, that's later on in the ranking system. My apologies, ran out ahead. If anyone doesn't know, I actually have acquisitions.
Of course you do. The one person who is more prepared for this than I was.
Hey man, I've not been able to get much stuff, but I have been able to get the dungeon, the other thing for the other game. So that's all
Yeah,
set
it's
up.
just
I haven't
it's
been able to
basically
get the content.
it's a welcome letter kind of a thing. And even in little bits like this letter does not constitute employment with Acquisitions Incorporated.
I just knew that if somebody was going to buy it, it would be Jesse. He's like, so, and Omens.
So you just see Frick just going over
Yeah.
stuff. There's no investigation. He's just asking
Yeah,
questions.
he's just picking out a sentence and asking about it. I expected nothing more or less from him. So, Omen just sort of continues. Well, now I understand that you are seasoned adventurers, but I can't just hand over a high-end franchise to you. So you will have to start with a level 1 franchise. But the Sigil office does have a slight advantage over other offices in that portals all over the place fall under your territory, meaning that as long as you aren't stealing work from another franchise, you have a lot more ability to go out and pursue work. And of course, we do have a headquarters here in Sigil. A couple of employees are already there, including the major domo, who will take care of most of the actual paperwork and things. So you don't have to deal with that.
That sounds pretty good.
Okay, so just sign here.
Michael signs.
Okay. And as soon as you sign, he grabs it up, puts it into his very nice Acquisitions Inc. documents or satchel, and says, "Congratulations, you are now owners of the Sigil franchise of Acquisitions Inc. Let me show you to your new headquarters." And he's explaining some things along the way, but he's going very fast. He doesn't seem to care that it's in traffic. So, of course, Trevor has no idea what's going on.
Michael is listening as best as he can throughout this entire
I
conversation.
assumed I wasn't there because I don't know what's going on right
I
now.
imagine at some point Michael over here is like, membership has its privileges. Privileges may look suspiciously like new unpaid labor.
Yes, things like that.
And Michael's like, did I hear that correctly?
All right. So to get past some of the mechanical stuff, if you guys choose, you can look over the module in D&D Beyond. Not sponsored, but we'd really like for it to be. And if you want to take on like some of the subclasses that they have, like Documancer or Hordes Person, we'll figure that out later. I'm not going to try to throw extra stuff at you in the moment. But he's just sort of going on about how there'll be a headquarters. As a level 1 franchise, you're expected to do at least one job a month on behalf of Acquisitions Inc. Failure to do so is tantamount to breaking the contract, in which case all your worldly possessions will become ours, including some of your blood. And then he's guiding you towards... You started off in a pretty nice part of Sigil. You've been walking further and further over to the poorer side of Sigil. You're not quite in the hive, but you're not in a fantastic spot as he brings you to your new headquarters. which is a fairly simple warehouse, which, for the record, you guys can sleep in and stay, so this can cover your home. And it's like, okay. And he stops at the door. Now, before I open this and I introduce you to the major domo, who will, as I mentioned, be handling a lot of the paperwork so that you can focus on the adventure of adventuring and bringing fame and glory to the franchise and Acquisitions Inc. and its shareholders. Your major domo is a, let's just say he comes from a group of people who get a bad rap, mostly because they eat people's brains. But he is not affiliated with any maniacal organizations outside of Acquisitions Incorporated. He is a totally freelance brain eater, and I hope that you will not try to kill him on sight. That's kind of why we had to go to this warehouse instead of the really nice mansion I had earlier lined up. And some of you do remember there being major destruction at a house when he opens the door, and there to meet you in fine robes with a monocle, which is a mind flayer. Tentacles and everything.
Michael just offers out his hand, like, "Hey, how are you?"
And he kind of looks at it and he says, "Greetings. Forgive me. Not everyone really." He kind of, you see, like his skin is sort of glistening as he's holding up a hand. It's an illicit thing, you understand. I know that not everyone is comfortable with that aspect. How do you do? My name is Serax."
Michael takes the offered hand and then pulls him in for a hug. "I'm Michael. I am a bard."
Okay, you are now you got a face full of tentacle, basically, because,
Davy Jones.
Yes.
Davy Jones style.
And he is awkwardly, like, patting your shoulder. A lot of his wording is more telepathic mental than, garbled deep speech. He's like, "Yes, it is." And those of you who can see his eyes, he's kind of looking at Omen like, "Really?" And Omen just says, "Oh, I'm so glad to see that you're all getting along. Take care. We'll be in touch when there is work for you." And Omen just leaves. "Well, let me show you around," he says, prying Michael off of him.
So wait, is this guy like a butler or something? Or did I just completely miss that entire thing?
More or less, yes.
Cool.
He's the major domo. He will take care of the day-to-day stuff around, the franchise, handling employees, and things of that nature.
So he's like one part accountant, one part HR, and 2 parts, I just make sure that you guys don't screw up.
Basically, as a part of the first level franchise, you get a major domo, a couple of unskilled workers, and 1 skilled workers. Nothing comes out of your pocket as long as you do some work on behalf of the franchise, and that will come up later on. I'll tell you when there's a job coming through for you. So Serax is prying Michael off of him and says, "Allow me to show you around the warehouse." And he turns around, takes 5 steps in. "This is the warehouse. We have some space over here and some space over here."
Where is that on the map? Is it here?
And you're standing here. He just pointed here and here. And that concludes the tour.
Right, well, first thing, we need to set up a barracks. Second thing, we need to set up a kitchen. Ooh.
I do appreciate the thought, but I can handle my own nourishment. Although, if you ever have anyone that needs to be dealt with, you can bring them to me, and that would be very much appreciated.
That's how he eats.
He didn't really catch on that you meant your kitchen. He thought you meant feeding him personally.
Oh, that's great to know. But we also have a labor force and ourselves to feed. But I'll keep that in mind if ever we have anything that might catch your fancy. Do you have anything in particular that you do enjoy?
He kind of looks at the rest of you standing behind Michael, and it's of course Frick is doing that. Just out of curiosity, I want everyone to make an intelligence check who thinks they might know what he's referring to when he mentions food.
Danny knows. Let's see, +1, go. Yeah.
Kiara figured out right off the bat he meant he eats brains from living, intelligent creatures. The rest of you are a little more in the dark on that.
He probably demands a very big cow.
I mean, Stranger Things kind of explains it anyway, so I kind of knew. You didn't need to tell me, but I'm okay with it.
Oh, well, I am glad that was a bit of a contention with the previous franchise owners who, well, I fed quite well that day.
Message received.
Now, please do not be alarmed. I am not connected to any hive minds. The process of ceremorphosis can vary at times, and I am not in any danger of being persuaded to join them. But I do have certain unique nutritional requirements as a result. But again, I will handle that. It is not for you. Just please do not bring any one from the Gith Yankee or Gith the Rye around, because they are often less. And he kind of looking at you guys in your unique expressions. It's like understanding.
Well, if anybody does give you any issues, just bring it forward to me, and I'll get it handled.
Oh, I am sure it won't be a problem. And you know what, just because I haven't established it yet and it's just super fun, you notice also that he's a shorter stature individual, and he's actually a gnome mind flayer who walks around on his tentacles. Because I saw a picture on Twitter and it was just too good not to use. So he scuttles away on his longer tentacles, picks up a tome of looks very much like a spell book, and begins to read, because there's no work in as the franchise is brand new.
Michael's already starting to make out a list of stuff that we'll need for a barracks and a kitchen in his brain. He's looking over at Frick and he goes, "Oh well." He's looking over at Frick. "Will you be able to set up a brewery in the in this area as part of the, or will we need to get in some special supplies for you for that?"
And Frick
Is
just
there a
goes
plane of
over
beer?
and investigates and just like does mental tape measures.
Did you say there was an office anywhere?
This is the office. Basically, the front place here. Sarax does have a desk that he can sit at, and there's some basic furnishings for the place. But you might be sleeping on cots until you actually bring beds in.
Andy,
Yes.
is there such thing as a plane of beer? Or a plane of alcohol or something like that?
It could exist somewhere. The multiverse is a wide and varied place.
Noted.
I think that would technically fall under the plane of water. alcohol being a liquid. So
I don't know. What
I don't know
look
what to do
is.
with that either.
It was kind of scaring me.
Okay, with that little bit of business done, Trevor, you probably were wanting to go meet with Zoriel again for more training.
Yeah.
Okay.
To catch you guys up, I will. What Trevor's been doing at downtime is he's been training with another paladin that he's met.
okay.
Yeah, this particular paladin. She actually trains people who just want to learn how to fight, as long as they want to learn how to fight for the right reasons. So anybody, she doesn't mind if people tag along if anybody wants to get some extra training.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go with him, that's cool.
Michael will. It might also give him some chance to see if there's anything along the way that you might make some orders in on for beds and everything for everyone.
I wouldn't dare pass this offer.
Yeah,
Just a brief warning. Oops, sorry, Katie.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Just a brief warning. You might be surprised.
But I'm still gonna go with you, yes.
Go.
You say this as you're walking by a gnome mind flayer who is turning pages with his tentacles.
That is like the least shocking thing we've ever seen.
I'm trying to imagine, like, you say that to Frick, it's like, oh, he must be like an abnormal horror, like this ginormous creature that building. Like, he's trying to think, like, oh, this must be a worthy adversary.
I mean, I kind of see double when I look at her, so I mean, but it'll be interesting.
I want to find Henrietta. I want to find a Henrietta.
Oh!
Wait, what?
You know what I mean, Andy. I want to go
It
find...
took me a second, but sure. If you want to go off to the marketplace,
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a moment because I'll have to come up with something in the back of my head.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I just wanted to make a joke.
Yeah. All right. And Sarah X just again kind of thanks to you all. I will be sure to get in contact if anything comes up. I will have some people start sorting out those requests for lodgings to be brought into here. After all,
Thank you.
that is his job.
Yep. Michael, hands over.
Actually, Michael, things like that are handled by the franchise. After all,
okay.
They handle all the basic expenses. You do jobs without pay. So
it's like being an apprentice all over again at the Bard College.
Yeah.
Only this time there's no drunk master.
It's like being a soldier again.
Anyways, so you guys make your way over to the more religious part of town, the Temple District, and Trevor shows you into. It's probably not hard to figure out where Zoriel is. She moves around from area to area, but where to find her, and she has a training space set up in the bottom in an empty floor of one of the temples. So for most of you, when you come in, you see not a puppy.
But there is a puppy.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't know what that means, but okay. So most of you see a woman with short blonde hair, nice red armor, much like what you would expect from a paladin, and then when she turns around, she has sort of like a visor across her eyes, and you can see the horns that wrap around her head. Oh, Trevor, you finally brought some of those friends that you don't shut up about.
Did I really talk about them that much?
Well, you talk about a lot of things when you get concussed. I honestly was starting to think maybe they were just figments of brain trauma, but maybe something else explains you. And with that, she goes over and grabs her massive hammer and says, "Who's up first?"
Michael will stand forward, readying his shield and sword.
And she just kind of says real quick, "All right, so did Trevor bother to explain what is going on here?" And of course, before you actually say the word nope, she's already swinging the hammer, which you are able to widely miss because it was a natural 1. And and it somewhat bounces off of your shield, cracking her instead. So she winds up taking the hit. Oh, you're better than I expected you to be. And with that, she goes for her second swing, which is... Oh, yeah, it hits. With like a 25. So you just got hit very hard with this major hammer. And Trevor, you know that when her hammer hits a shield, there's normally like a pretty good gong type of sound. But when it hits Michael's shield, and of course it hit at maximum, you take 17 points of bludgeoning damage. But the sound is much more of it's dull and quieter than you would have expected when it hits Michael's shield. And Michael...
I take 14.
Yeah. And Michael, you feel it resonate a lot more than you expected. So we'll handle how that's going to upgrade later, because it just took the full force of her hit. And she's like, "Oh, this one's not half bad." And basically, she will proceed to go on a sparring session kind of like that.
Sweet.
Rather than actually, do all the rolls, I'm just going to do a couple more just to see how well. What was your AC again?
AC 20.
Okay. Then yeah, she's going to hit you several more times. So I'm just going to do a real quick just to see how much damage you take in all. Let's see, 11, 13 plus. Okay, so you would take about 35 points of damage in this training session.
Still standing, but just barely.
I'm sure that she took some hits too, but this isn't a killing type of thing. She's just testing out how good you are. Okay, he's not bad. Is anybody else up for a round? Does Frick enter the
Put
ring
me
with
in,
her?
coach.
Okay. What was your AC? Because I'm gonna sort of speed this
AC
up.
17.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, everything she just swung is going to hit you.
Yay!
Let's see. Oh, and I just rolled triple sixes on damage. Okay, so
Good, get him out now.
yeah. That'd be 18. That would be about 39 points of damage in the course of a training session.
Okay.
And I know I didn't do this for Michael, but Frick, go ahead and give me 3 attacks, please. Sorry, Michael, but when Frick does it, it's always something special.
I know.
I'm just trying to kind of get us back into action. Okay.
Those are 3 swings.
Yeah. Well, you did manage to hit her with one of them, so she is rightfully impressed.
Impressed with 9 damage.
Yeah. You know what, Michael? Go ahead and give me 3 attacks also. I'll be fair about this. Okay. All right, so all of yours hit. No, wait a minute, just 2 of them. Just 2 of them. So, okay. Yeah, that's pretty decent. Trevor, are you ready for your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Gonna roll her attacks. Oh, and she got a natural 1 and a natural 20 on yours.
It doesn't matter.
That's right. But let me at least see what happens with her bludgeoning. Okay, that one is... She would have had disadvantage for a couple of attacks. But we're going to just go ahead and say... I'll let you give your 3 attacks in right quick, too. I will continue to be fair about everything. Holy crap. Okay, yeah, all of yours hit, including...
I love Trevor so much.
Yeah, in fact, you managed to slash her in such a way that she does decrease damage to you. So, rather than give you full damage, we'll just say that one was 4.
I just wanted to roll to see what it'd be.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Trevor, kind of put a hurting on her, but even combined, you guys would have barely taken off 80 points, and that is even half of her health. So, Trevor, you would have taken, let's see, let's see, let's call it 28, and then let me do the rest of the math here. 12. You would have taken about 28 plus 14, so 32. Okay, so that's, and the reason I'm speeding that up is because she's actually having conversations with you the whole time she is beating the crap out of you. Because this is how she trains people. So starting with Michael, why do you want to get stronger?
Because I don't want to leave anyone without protection.
Why? And if you're slow at responding, I'm rolling another attack. You have to be able to think about this while you're being hit.
Because I myself have been in a position where nobody was able to protect me.
Okay, that one, actually, she gives you a nod of respect on that one. Frick, why do you train? I'm rolling another attack if you don't respond.
Yeah, like Frick would not know another answer, so that would be fair. It would be like no one's ever asked me that internally. Then go for you go for the attack now.
Okay, that one was only a 14, so you were able to dodge it. And she'll just ask the question again. Why are you here?
To find the answers that can only be solved through fists.
Okay, that was a good answer, but what does it mean?
It means I must find my own path. And to find it, I must pierce through whatever objects, whatever barriers that before me must be struck down. No one will move forth this door wall before me.
So
there are secrets beyond the wall that I must find.
So to get what you want, you have to hurt people? Is that what you're saying?
I never said people.
Okay, good answer. Trevor, why do you fight?
I I fight to protect the people I care about.
Why?
It just feels like something I should do.
Why?
Without... That's fair.
Yeah, you just got hit again.
That's fine.
I'm going to do full damage, but 15 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Still, question persists.
Without good to counter the chaos, the world just won't continue. You have to...
So, and she's saying this
Danny
while...
can't form words.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that while you're trying to say all this, she's swinging a giant... I mean, this hammer is, humongous. Yeah, I showed you her stats. She's
I know.
So this thing is huge, and she's just swinging
She's
it.
scary.
So it's your job to impose order on the world. Is that it?
I think more of it's more, if you're strong enough and you can fight, you have to defend those that can't defend themselves.
Okay, that's a decent answer. And for that, she will make sure you all get health potions to bring you back up to full. And she kind of explains that I don't teach people to fight so that way they can throw their weight around. I teach people to fight so that way they have an option. And you are all, well, decent people in your own ways.
I like to think I picked out some good friends.
Trevor, you did say you had some things you wanted to talk to Zoriel about.
Yes. Zoriel, while I have your attention, I have a question for you.
Well, I did just ask you several. It's only fair.
Do you know a way of witnessing a past event that you have only heard stories about?
Well, I have heard of these things called books, and in them there are words, and the words form pictures in your mind that help you see the past. Or you can always just find somebody with enough magic to, show you.
That's what I meant.
I'm pretty sure you've heard about the crazy diviner running around town. That's what happens when you peer too closely into divination. So,
great.
now that being said, there's probably somebody who isn't, just completely bat-dung crazy.
Hopefully.
But what is it that you want to see?
Something that happened with my family. I think I've told you about it.
Yeah, but I want to hear it again.
I want to witness for myself what happened at a temple of Bahamut.
Why?
Honestly, I don't know. I just feel like I should know what happened.
Yeah, I suppose I can't fault you for that. I've certainly got questions about my family that I would like answered. But I should warn you.
I'm not sure if it's...
I only have legends to go on with what happened with my ancestor. And I might live a happier life if I didn't know what she did.
Maybe. Or if you find out something, you can help make their life better.
I know I hit you a couple of times over the head just now, but you do remember that I'm referring to an archdevil. I'm pretty sure making her life better is going to be the challenge of my life.
Family's family?
Okay, fair point.
But she can tell you where you can find a diviner who can help you see things.
I will make a note of it.
Okay. It's the sort of thing where she's like, she'll just give you like directions, and either she'll speak with you or she won't. Again, the good diviners are all a little bit off in the head. So are the bad diviners. Seems to be a pattern. Someone should look into that sometime.
Speaking of bad wow, you hit me harder than I thought. Whatever.
Bad divination clerics?
Yeah, sure. We might have to go take a peek at Wildom sometime soon. Random music. And I only say this just because that crazy guy going around said something about the castle being burned down. I don't remember exactly what it was. I just want to make sure that, nothing exploded
Are
while
you
we
sure
were gone.
that you want a job that requires you taking more hits to the head? You seem to have trouble wording at this point.
I've survived this how many times now? I'm okay.
That's not the point. It's sort of an ongoing problem. She turns to Frick. Do you understand what happens when you get hit in the head too many times?
Indeed.
Okay, could you explain that to him?
Simply, see, there's a thing called burn damage that may take an effect when you struck it.
Michael just raises his hand at this point and he goes, well, Trevor does also travel around with me and I'm a bard, so it could
Do
just
you know
be
how
that-
to make words go good?
I know to
Yeah,
make
I
words
do.
gooder.
I love her so much.
Alcohol helps.
I regret training any of you.
At this point, Michael just goes, wow, you have no sense of humor.
Oh, I have a great sense of humor. You're just all idiots.
I
Yay!
pretty much take that as a compliment now, Zoriel. Come on.
Well, you do keep coming back to get hit in the head again. That does speak for a certain lack of intelligence.
It also speaks for a very large amount of fetishes.
What?
Why are you talking about radishes at a time like this?
I thought he said fetishes.
He did.
Yes.
It's just Frick being Frick.
I was making sure I heard it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's just giving you the weirdest look at this point.
Michael, I'm worried about you.
You should be. I think now I'm assuming that there is someone in your group that has a certain amount of common sense, and that's why they're not here right now.
I point at Kiara.
Who is somewhere else right now?
Oh, I thought she was with us. I'm sorry.
Were you with them, or were you off shopping?
I thought I was with her.
Oh, okay, then.
I was just standing there, I guess.
Oh, okay, then. All right, good point. Like, oh, I didn't even see you there. That does apparently prove that she has a certain amount of common sense.
She's the only woman in the group. What do you expect?
Well, she's
Okay.
not the only woman, but she's the only woman who's here.
Fair point. Actually,
Yeah.
Rana probably would have liked Zoria.
Yeah, if they do anything stupid, I'm not a part of it. I had no thought put into their plan.
Okay, but then you follow along with the plan anyway?
I'm just here.
She
they
mitigates.
want make sure they don't.
I think it's
go-
story time, children. Take a seat. And when
Michael
nobody
sits
moves, she
cross-legged.
glares at you. Take a seat.
Michael sits cross-legged on the floor.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am.
And she's going to say that going along with someone just because you think that they're right without actually having a plan is just a bad idea. You need to...
Oh, and also I didn't sit down. kind of stand there with my arms kind of crossed.
And then she just
And-
kind of casually walks over to you, and I want you to make an opposed strength check, please.
Oh, my weakness.
So she walks over to you while she's saying this, casually puts a hand on your shoulder, and pushes you down to the ground.
Can I try and sweep her off her feet? Sweep her off her feet?
I'm going to say that you just kind of use most of your action trying not to resist being forced, to a sitting position. And that's okay, because the two of you who are walking away right now, Danny knows the story already. So yeah, she makes you sit, and that was your action, unfortunately. So, and she's gonna say, a long time ago, there was an angel named Zariel, and she was in charge of watching over a vast battle, but was told only to observe. Until one day, she decided that watching other people fight wasn't enough, that she needed to be more involved. So she went down and found a host of mortals, told them all, I will teach you to fight, and we will go and we will fight the most glorious battle this universe has ever seen. And we will we will fight in the name of the light. And then she led them to hell to join the Blood War. None of them came back. Does this...
Can I again?
Yeah, you can say something.
No, I want to stand up again.
Okay, you want to stand up? Make me another strength check.
I hear.
I'm going to say that because she's got the leverage on you, she gets advantage and she rolled a natural 20. She's basically keeping a hand on Kiara's head now to make the insolent child stay in place.
The same thing is happening. What happened with me and you in the other session?
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? And she kind of leans down to look at you, Kiara, and say, do you understand the moral of this story about following blindly?
Honestly, I don't need to know. History isn't too important for me.
Michael kind of looks at her and goes, I can see Zariel's good intentions, and I can understand why she did it.
So
But,
can I.
Yeah, you are right.
But she led a host of mortals to be slaughtered by fiends, and then she became a fiend herself. An angel of the light fell for good intentions, and she brought a whole lot of people down with her because they didn't pay attention to history. Following blindly, and she's stumping you on the head, following people blindly will lead to bad things because you go with them.
I want to grab her wrist.
Okay.
And I want to
make a dex check.
Okay.
Okay,
Better.
You grab her wrist. Now what?
I kind of want to twist it. You know how they kind of rotate the arm and do that thing with the.
Okay.
I don't know.
You're trying to sort of flip her.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna say give me a strength check. She doesn't budge.
Michael
she doesn't quite pick you up, but I'm starting to doubt the common sense of anyone in this room, myself included, for trying to teach you.
Michael actually stands up at this point, walks over and places a hand on Kiara's shoulder and just goes, this isn't a battle to fight. This is something to learn from. Just listen, take what you can, and think it over.
Fine, but I'm not sitting. I don't want to sit.
She takes her hand off your head. I can appreciate a stubborn streak as well. But again, know what you're getting yourself into. Because people do get hurt when they don't think things out. I mean, I would absolutely love to run down to Avernus, challenge her one-on-one, and bring her back to the light. But that would be stupid. I would also like to challenge Bane, Bahal, and Merkel to similar contests and get them off this plane of existence altogether. But I can't do that alone.
I'm a good example of not thinking things through, Kiara.
Michael just stays very silent at this, just kind of looks between everyone and gives a very, very knowing look at Trevor.
And so, one more thing, and then today's lesson is done. No one is perfect, and you can fall from grace and wind up in the most hopeless location ever, because arrogance and foolish pride go before the fall. And if you are just following along with people, they will drag you down with them. Think about your actions and ask yourself, not only are you doing the right thing, are you doing it for the right reasons? Because imposing order on a chaotic situation sounds good until you have everyone in chains walking a line for their own good. All right, you don't stand in front of a storm with a shield and expect it to go around you. It will go through you. Now, if any of this has made any sense to you and you want to come back for future training, my door is always open to those who are willing to try.
Michael nods to this.
Thanks, Zaria.
Well, I do love beating the crap out of you.
That's a common theme with women in my life.
You should probably look into that.
I think so.
You know, there is a specific set of women that would do this either for free or as part of a relationship.
Even though you can't see her eyes, you feel how hard she is staring at you right now. And she is a tiefling, specifically from the line of Zariel. Do you really want to find out what that means?
No! But it is just something for Trevor to note in case.
Do you keep
Because-
talking?
If you're seeking that out.
Michael,
But
make
yeah,
a wisdom save.
Michael, let's go.
Just stop.
No, he kept talking. Michael, make a wisdom save. Okay, what was her spell save again? Okay, you beat the spell save as she looks at you and says, "Shut up."
Michael just shuts up at that moment, though, as well. It's just like, yeah.
And she glares at you until you leave.
Thanks. Take everybody and leave.
And that is Zariel, Trevor's paladin mentor.
I did post your picture in chat.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
It really fucking blows my mind how much they look alike. Wasn't that just a random picture you found too?
More or less, yeah. I was flipping through some character pictures on Pinterest, and Zariel was born when I saw that one.
That is
Zoriel. Sorry, I keep saying Zariel when I mean her name is Zoriel. She's descended from Zariel, the Archduke of Avernus. Right,
That's
so
actually quite beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, out of character, that is a beautiful picture.
yeah.
That is a great artist. I don't know who the hell it is, but
I don't know how to share it in the middle of the stream. Otherwise, I would. But it's I do. I'm a fan of it. We'll put it on Twitter later. Anyway,
Yeah.
Kiara, you wanted to go shopping, didn't you?
Yep. Can I
Okay.
go to anywhere nearby?
Yeah, there's a thriving marketplace, and you are so you can stop by and so you start asking about what it is you want to find, and somebody's going to point, oh, there's some livestock down that way, and
I
you
say,
come,
and I work on.
hmm,
I say, okay, thanks, and I'll put up my hand. Just wave thanks.
okay. So you go down and you find. I'm trying to think of who this gentleman is. We're going to say that this is a tabaxi who's kind of got sort of uh, a leopard look to them.
Mhm.
Like, yes, what can I help you with today?
I'm looking for one of your chickens.
So you've heard of them, have you? I do breed some of the finest chickens around. And he kind of calls out to one of his assistants who doesn't move. And then there's a little bit of a glare. Bring us one of the chickens. Like, it's my break. And coward. He goes and there's some scuffling from the crates behind you. And a minute later, this tabaxi comes back out with, I don't really have a perfect analogy. Let's just say it's a little bit larger than an ostrich. And it's got a muzzle around its beak. And its feet are kind of tied so that it can't, kick you. As he tries to drag it forward, we have the best held chickens on this side of anything. And it's fighting him the whole time because it's...
I mean, that first animal handling check, I was just messing around. I just really want this.
well, he's managed to roll really well to keep it. And yeah, he's like, I would recommend that you get several of them because, well... Otherwise, you're just going to have one, and that doesn't really provide much in the way of farming. But I can sell you a herd of them at a great price. Do you have a reinforced pen?
Michael just looks at this thing and then
If
looks
it
at
gets
Kiara.
out into the city, the mercy killers will hold you responsible. I know
No.
they warn me every time I bring them here.
No, I do not.
Okay, I am going to recommend that you get a reinforced pen, which I can help you with for a very reasonable fee.
How much are we talking?
Let's see, for a herd, and then you're going to need some tranquility potions when you actually want to do anything with them. 5,000 gold.
I just turn to the tabaxi and I just say, I meant a little normal size chicken, little baby size of a like
He
trinket.
he kind of looking at you, and then he looks back at the bird of prey that he has been struggling with. Oh, 2 stalls
But-
down, and then he starts fighting with the hell chicken again. But you are able to buy a little chick for we'll call it 5 silver.
I knew it. Yeah.
Okay. Do
Well,
you
my bird's-
want like a teacup chicken that will never get any bigger, or do you want a regular chicken?
A regular chicken
Okay.
that's if you have one.
Yes, you can get one. I wanted to do hell chickens. It's from a
Oh,
book I've read, and they're basically raptors with more feathers.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I want to go back to that picture. Yep, there it is. Yep, no.
No, that's
Mm-mm.
the abyssal chicken, and I don't know
Oh.
when it's coming out. Hell chickens are just big raptors. Well, they taste like chicken. I don't know what
So
Fang
wait, did
tastes
she
like.
get that weird thingy that thing you posted, or is it something different?
This was something different.
Oh, okay.
This was inspired from a book that I read, and
Okay.
they have giant carnivorous chickens that they eat for breakfast. You know, when they don't try to kill them, which is always. Hell chickens are very aggressive, and if any of those get out, he can never come back to Sigil
Aw.
if he lives, because they're hell chickens, for crying out loud. Anyway, yes, you are able to buy your chicken for 5 silver.
Okay, now I want to go to a blacksmith real quick.
You want a tiny helmet for the chicken. For anybody who's watching our Titan's Grave game, you understand what she's doing to me. He looks at you as you explain it to the blacksmith. Yeah, what can I
No.
get for you?
Okay, my other bird's being jealous. Oh, okay. So
I assume that was Henrietta.
okay, sir, I would like 3 arrow heads that are hollow and can fit this little baby chick's foot. I'm not doing what you were thinking. Claws.
You want to make claws for a chicken.
You guys made a helmet.
Michael then looks at Kiara and goes, "What? Do you want to build? Do you want him to make a helmet for the chicken as well?"
That's a good idea.
Get out.
Michael just looks at him. Michael looks at Kiara and goes, "You want a battle chicken?"
Get out.
I already have a battle raptor.
And I would like to say Fang has started to back away at this conversation.
You already have armor, dude. You're fine.
Michael is just putting his hand over his head, and he's just bringing it down like this, and he's just like,
Sorry, I can't
kidding me,
actually
right?
see what you're doing. So
Well, why not?
the dwarf is still pointing at the door, telling you to get out.
Hang on. Give me one moment. Give me one moment.
He thinks this is the stupidest idea he's ever heard. He's used to arming some animals, but you
I'll
just
give you
asked
100
him.
gold to do it.
We're gonna awaken my chicken. My chicken.
All right, that's going to take like 8 hours, I believe.
That's enough time for him to make a miniature helmet. I'll give him 100 gold.
Oh my god, though, but you are awakening the chicken. Hold on. I am too sober for this.
This is the greatest thing ever.
You're going to get 3 plot points for this, first off.
Hey, and just
But
get
now
back
you can
just in
explain it to
time.
Frick.
Michael looks to Frick and goes, "Apparently, we now have a battle chicken."
Okay. I'm going to do this as a dwarf now. You're telling me you want to make steel claws for your chicken so that you can awaken it.
And a helmet.
No, it's that so whenever it's awakened, I can teach it to fight, and now I can be scratch with the feet.
That is the stupidest thing I have heard in my entire life.
Why are you doing this?
That's the dwarf, not Andy. Andy has heard a lot dumber than this.
Andy has had Michael as a player for a very long time. He is definitely hurt worse than this.
It's going to cost 300 gold.
Slam! Yeah.
Hi, so much.
Michael will just put down the 300 gold for this.
And he tells you that it's going to take a couple of days because to make something that will fit a chicken is particularly delicate work. And he questions your sanity. And if he finds out that you are taking an awakened battle chicken and throwing it into taverns, he will be sure to report you.
Ooh. Oh, I didn't think of that. Thank you for the idea.
Oh, God.
No, I'm the one who has to come up with the voice of a chicken before next game.
Sorry.
I made Henrietta so much better. Just kidding. No, I didn't. But it is cute.
No, you've ensured that I have to play out an awakened chicken. My only consolation is that we're not going to bring it up to, a leveled barbarian of your. It's going to have to actually work its way up, and it's a chicken, and will probably get fried very quickly. So
If anyone does that, they're dying on the spot.
I mean, my rule about animals is that when they enter combat, they are fair game. You just ask for battle spurs for the chicken. And I don't think they need any extra armament to start with. But that's Andy's opinion. Okay. If you come back in a couple of days, you will have spurs for your chicken, and you can awaken it over a long rest.
Okay.
And you get 3 plot points for doing something that makes me facepalm. Okay, guys, what are you doing next? Because I need a minute.
Michael's going to go shopping for some potions.
Okay.
I wrote Andy.
And possibly,
what kind of
possibly
potions?
a lady of the night, possibly greater healing and some other stuff, and possibly a lady of the night for Trevor, just because Trevor's developing an unhealthy need for women to beat him.
Trevor, you're allowed to beat him for that comment.
Why are you so interested in my sex life?
Because your sex life is now starting to get into our training.
Because you made it that way. What? I have a lady. Kind of. Not really, but...
Uh-huh.
No!
You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure. I
Michael,
don't need assistance in that
Michael,
department.
quick question, and this is related to things. What kind of instrument do you play?
I have a lute on me, but I can also play...
that's what I needed to know, is what is on you. Because you feel a very thick finger tapping you on the shoulder, almost, non-stop until you turn around. And I'm taking it that you do turn around.
Yep.
Okay, and you are greeted to gray skin, and then you look up. And you look up another 3 feet as this very large gentleman with a big bushy beard, some tattoos. He's a Goliath.
I knew it. I got it.
And he's looking down at you like, pardon me, sir. I'm trying to get my voice right because I don't think I am an ambassador from a place called Whitestone. I am the Grand Poobah, the Doink of this and that.
Sorry, I'm looking at you.
And he has the horned hat on, and the reason I am bothering you is that I notice that you are a musician person. I know a musician person, and he was teaching me to be a musician person, and I was just wondering if I could borrow your lute for a moment.
Michael takes it off of himself very delicately and hands it up to this giant man. His
Okay.
lute is built for a human,
Yes.
so in
and
this guy's hands, it's going to look like a child's plaything.
yes, it does. And he kind of takes a moment, and I thought this was particularly funny if you were trying to guide Trevor to a house of ill repute, which Grog might have been at, but we're not going to get into that. He's like, "Thank you," and he still kind of plays it just a little bit, makes some minor adjustments like a lot of people do. And I actually wish I could play the music because he starts to play a song. He's like, "This is one my friend taught me." And if anybody wants to embarrass me later, get ready to clip this. So he starts playing a song. It's like, "Headed out to Whitestone to meet a friend outside of town. My hood pulled up, and I found his name, and felt the wind die down. Then a drunk gnome in a jaunty hat took me by surprise, wearing shiny boots, a stylish suit, and haunted eyes. He said, 'Friend, it's good to see you. It's nice to know you care.' Then the wind picked up, and he was gone. Was he ever really there? 'Cause it's midnight in Taldore. Just hear that whippoorwind. See the stars light up the purple sky. Feel that lonesome chill. 'Cause when the wind is right, you'll hear a song, smell fusaka in the air. Midnight in Taldore, he's always singing there. Midnight in Taldore, Scanlan's always singing there." And he kind of, trails off with the lute. Surprisingly dexterous. And I don't know about you guys, but some people around are giving him a nice little applause. And
Yeah, that's pretty good.
thank you. I'm like, "Oh, thank you. And he's like, "Yeah!" and smashes the lute on the ground. He's like, "I am so sorry. I got carried away there at the end, and he will pay you enough money to buy a new lute." But then you hear another voice out in the crowd, a smaller, higher pitched voice yelling out, "Grog!" And he kind of he reaches into a bag, he pulls out a curly Shirley Temple style wig, puts it on his head. "Shh, you didn't see me." And then he just walks off into the crowd. About 2 minutes later, a gnome in plate armor will go running by. "Grog, I can see you. You're 2 feet taller than everybody else." And then they run off into the distance.
What just happened?
I think we just ran into another adventuring party that has just about as random times as we do.
I don't know where that idea came, but I had to play that out. Thank you for humoring me.
What's a Taldore?
I think it's another land. Either that or it's a bar.
Huh.
And with that, suddenly the Goliath, still in his blonde wig. Did you say bar?
Yes, I did.
Where's the bar?
I point to Frick and go, "You would know."
You're a bar?
He would know where a bar is.
Ah, then he picks up Frick and walks away. I mean, you're welcome to fight that, Frick, but this is strong
We're
jaw.
both wanting to go to the same place, so why resist?
Where do we get happen? Hello?
Michael just follows this because this is going to end up being the most hilarious thing that he will make song.
Is he holding me like a dowsing rod or something?
Yes, yes, he is.
Yes.
You're like, which
Yes,
way's
he
the
is.
bar?
So, I missed something. What did I miss?
the Goliath came back was when he heard the word bar, was told Frick knew how to get there, and now he's using Frick as a dowsing rod to find a tavern so that they can drink.
My dumb brain says we need to spell this detect bar.
I will let you create that later on. Give me an Arcana check, in fact.
If he succeeds.
God, I want him to.
Okay.
That's...
I just rolled to see what it'd be.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Even though there is absolutely no magic involved. In fact, I think some of you feel magic being forcibly driven away from the area. Frick just knows where the bar is because he's been there before, but he thinks it's magical. So he's like, there it is. And then Grog, carrying him in his hands, runs towards the bar, looking like some kind of a rhinoceros centaur above everybody with that hat on. I broke Jesse. I'm proud of myself today.
It's my own dumb suggestions that are just painting the most beautiful picture in my head.
I know. I love it. I just figure, Grog, you under his arm, running down the street, you with one hand pointing towards the bar. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. And that completes Andy's fun little moment that he wanted to have, and I'm so glad we did this. And you guys have a few other things going on, but those will take time. So what are you doing? We can even say this is the next day because Grog is going to buy drinks until Pike starts trying to find him again, in which case, he runs through a wall to escape. And I mean that literally. He dove through a wall, and then he comes back in. Just put it on Whitestone's tab. Tell him the Grand Poobah did it. Okay. What actual goals did you guys have? Because I don't know how to beat that. I think that's the end of a day right there.
I was going to try and find some work for us, as well as getting some greater healing potions for my diffuser. Michael is now completely having to buy a new loot as well. Yes. And he's going to make sure that it is a very, very, very sturdy loot from now on.
There was no way Grog was not going to shatter anything that wasn't magical.
Oh, I know.
Because Scanlan told him that's how you end a great performance.
Wait, who did?
These are characters from Critical Role.
Yeah, Scanlan and Grog, I know who they are.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what you know.
I mean, I watched a little bit. I haven't,
Okay.
I knew who Scanlan and Grog.
Yeah, okay.
Love Keith. And you know why.
Michael, we can do some potions right quick. Greater healing is that rare or uncommon?
I believe it's uncommon, but
okay.
Don't quote me on that. I have my books at hand.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look it up right quick because I don't know either. And wait a minute, actually I do have it written down somewhere, I thought. But no, that's for selling stuff. I could have sworn I had made a note of that, so let me find, and I'll tell you how much they have of what. This is why I don't do a whole lot of shopping sessions, because I don't have details. Okay, greater healing is uncommon. Okay, so let's say they can sell you a grand total of 8, They'll be 200 apiece.
Let's try to haggle that a little bit.
Okay. And we get
Is
a
that
and
a-
we get a persona. You go ahead and start your haggling. Yes, dear.
I mean, I could pay.
Well, I hope you
One-
can pay. That's how the shopping thing works.
Yes, it does. But mine, I was thinking because just because I'd be able to draw in more regularly from yourselves as part of the franchise, an initial buy-in of 180, and then we can continue on a business contract from there.
Give elaborate on the business contract that you mean just a little bit.
Like we would use them as a regular supplier for our franchise.
You're going to use the Acquisitions Incorporated brand name already. I like it. Give me a persuasion roll with advantage.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Oh well, in that case, if you're going to be a regular, we can start up a tab, an account for you. And you said how much did you suggest? What's the price?
180.
Okay, she'll sell you 8 of them for 180 each.
All right. Grab
Go.
my calculator.
Yeah,
Fast
you do that kind of math because I don't math good.
Neither do I.
I know how math.
This is why a mathematician always has a calculator.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Is there anything else you guys
1,440.
want to accomplish?
I want to try and find a way to our own plane.
Okay. Well,
I want to do that.
you have access to the portals. If you want to check some of them out and try to figure out which one is yours, that sounds like a good use of your time.
I'm going to do it.
Okay. So we're going to say it's afternoon by this point. And you've gone down to the portals. I forget the gentleman's name, but the owner looks at Frick. Are you here for another fight?
Do you want to do that?
I just imagine, am I still being carried back up?
I think no. At this point, Pike came to look for him again, so he ran away. In the distance, you hear, "Grog, you can't hide from me." It's been a busy day around here. But anyway, you gain access to the portals. So
Sorry.
what? Now these are the stable portals. These are the ones you can stick your head in. But you're actually to try to figure out which one is your plane. There's about 3 or 4 that you've decided take you to something that resembles a prime material plane. One of them had the advanced vehicle, so you know that one's not yours. But you have about 3 others that could be. What is your method for figuring out which one is yours?
Oh,
Is life first of all? Do I see anything that's, I guess, living?
Well, yes, there's something living in all of these.
Well then, shoot, I'll go with all. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, if you have access to 7th level magic, then you can teleport home. But I don't know if you have this access to 7th level yet.
To 7th level what?
7th level magic. Druids have access to planar shift if they're high enough level.
I'm level 11.
I don't know.
Ha-
What's your highest level spell?
I don't know. I think
Okay.
it's transport via plant.
All right. Oh, we'll worry about that later. But because I don't think you have access to plane shift yet.
I'm just gonna look for anything that resembles our planet. Or
Well,
not planet.
again, the prime material planes, there's three of them that they have plants and trees, and there's one that you stick your head through, and you're in an alleyway inside of a town. It looks like a tropical location, and there appears to be dinosaurs in the distance, but they're like tame dinosaurs people are riding. That's but all the material
Hello.
planes have well, they're where humans come from. They're just doesn't mean it's your exact plane.
Okay, I guess. I guess I'm just gonna. I guess I'll check back another time. See if there's any difference later.
Well, you're pretty sure the city's still going to be there. But if you want to go there and then try to use transport via plants to see if you know any of the low, I think the way that spell works, if you know another plant on that plane, you can just travel to it. I'm going to look it
I'm
up
pretty.
now.
I spell can cast a magical link between large and larger.
As soon as my computer, apparently, my
And
oh, my keyboard just died. Oh, there it goes. Let me try to
it's
type again.
on the same plane of existence.
You were totally blinking out that whole conversation.
It has to be on the same plane of existence.
Okay. I'm going to need more. I'm going to need to recharge some batteries, apparently, because I think this is dying. Let's take 5 minutes while I go and get some batteries for my keyboard. So we'll be right back.
I'll throw them through the computer. There you go.
Yeah, you do that. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
I'm going to go grab something to
Okay, we are back to this totally professional stream where we are professional always. So you just wound up inside of a large city and you go to a tree where you can cast your spell, and you do fill the link to another place. This is your home plane. So when you want to go there, between Sigil and Wildom or anywhere in your plane, you'll pass through this city, which, for the record, anybody who's there, is pretty tropical. It's a port city. There seems to be a jungle not too far off. It actually kind of creeps up onto the city, and there's lots of dinosaurs. So Fang feels very at home here. Not that,
Yeah, I feel in connection.
Yes, you feel a
Fang.
connection. So
Fang feels what? I'm sorry.
Fang feels very at home. Do you think this
Okay.
might have been where he originally came from himself?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get my little chick. Let's go home.
So you cast plant transport via plants. Where do you go?
I go back to my origin.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Does anybody go with her?
My home place.
I'll pick up my master. Well, I'll try to pick up a masterwork loot, and then I'll go with her.
Okay. We're going to say that Grog gave you enough money to replace your loot. So unless you just buy something specifically magical, that's not a problem. But yeah, anybody who wanted to follow her through the portal and now follow her through a tree, you all go through a tree and you're in a wooded area. And some of you probably at least know the trees around Wildom, so this area feels familiar to you also.
Oh, so we're Wildom. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Fang, you came
Yeah.
from Wildom? Okay.
Trevor,
So-
give me. I think it needs to be more of a survival check for like a navigation or a geography type of thing.
+0. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the woods. Kiara, what are you attempting to
Navigator, I
accomplish?
am not.
You know where
do
you
I-
are. Yeah.
Yeah, make a survival check because I don't think I do.
In order to cast a spell, you had to know where you were going.
Yeah, so
Michael,
I know where I.
yeah, I was questioning the others because they just followed you through a tree. Michael, you recognize this area as part of Wildom. You suspect you're in Wild Pass, which is control. It was a region controlled by one of the archdukes of the kingdom. I don't have my notes to tell me which one, but Wild Pass was an area. Good God, people! Frick knows a lot about Wild Pass too, apparently.
This is my home, and I don't know jack shit about it.
You didn't leave the city very often.
Okay, fair point.
I would have given you advantage in an urban area, but you know that Wild
That's
Pass.
fair.
Wild Pass is, well, it's the wild area. It wasn't controlled so much by, like, Kiara. Your microphone's making noise.
That's mine?
I think so. If it wasn't yours, my apologies. But
I don't know.
okay,
Not on my.
okay,
headset.
it's gone now.
It
but-
could have.
So, like the other two areas of Wildom were sort of protected by armies, legions. Wild Pass is patrolled by rangers, because it's more of the farming wilderness area, and that's where you're at right now. You're potentially a day or two away from the capital. So congratulations on that franchise and then abandoning it in one day.
Not abandoning it.
You
We'll
can
be
get
right
back. I'm joking with you. You have access to portals and sigil for a good year. By which point, even the Cyclops will have to level up because Frick will destroy him. And I mean, that was a fair fight, and it was pretty close. I don't want to see Frick leveling up for a full year, then taking him on without me altering it, to be fair.
Okay, question.
Yes.
I'm happy that we're back, but why did we come back to Wildem?
Because I went in.
Because you followed a
that's fine.
tiefling through a tree.
I can't argue that logic. Okay.
So, Kiara, you know where you're at. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm just kind of casually walking along this little path that seems to be kind of faded. It's covering with grass still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm just walking just along by some trees, and it's kind of a rough terrain area.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of bumps and some big and small variety of rock. So you just casually see me walk up one of the large mounds, and you just, I would say, suddenly see this door appear. And hang on, let me show you kind of what it looks like. Sorry for everybody else that can't see. Oh, that was just for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, share it with other people.
I know, I'm sorry. There we go.
So it's basically is a mound with sort of like a Hobbit door. If you watch that particular franchise of movies.
Isn't that the hut from Brave?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. Okay, it's the hut from Brave. If you know that one, I don't. But okay, that's what you see.
Get it. And you just see me you just walk up to it and give a little knock. And yeah, you can take it away, Andy, on what happens next. Because I don't know. I haven't been here.
Yeah, you knock on the door, and then you suddenly hear a voice, even though it sounds like it's coming from the door itself. Hi, Kira. I've gone out for a little while. Make yourself at home.
Okay, thank you. Nice to hear you again. And I open the door and I walk inside.
And with that,
And then
the recorded, the pre-programmed illusion will cease to function because it was literally just there for whenever you came back.
Yeah, and if you guys are following me inside, you guys can be doing whatever you want when you want inside. It just suddenly this feeling of the room just expand. Like it's just so much more space than you thought it was.
Yeah, it's actually, those of you who kind of look at it, you'll notice that the entire space has been sort of stone shaped, worked, and it's pretty wide and pretty deep, and then you can see it goes down further. It's almost like somebody decided that a good form of training was to make a young aspiring druid make the house even bigger. That's actually, Kiara, exactly why it is so elaborate down there. Is because that was a big part of your training, was digging it out.
So yeah, I turn to him and I kind of have my arms casually out to sides and say, "Welcome to my home." And then I turn around again. I head towards what looks to be another separated room with no door. There's no doors once you get inside. And I just walk into another section of the house, which is full of different items, which is basically the kitchen. Just to sum it up. It's got the little cooking pot, maybe, and it's just it's nice and cozy.
Both.
And I say, you guys can do what you want. And
so if anybody wants to raid the kitchen, give me a roll.
What am I rolling?
You rate.
How about you just roll a 20 and I'll kind of decide, because it's not like I have an exact roll.
5.
Frick, you find a lot of dried fruits and vegetables.
There's this video said,
This will suffice.
He says through a mouthful of banana chips.
This is good. Come here.
So yeah. You guys are welcome here anytime. And since my father's not here, you guys want to explore? Because I'm bored. I really don't know what to do right now.
this is like your first time being a host.
Yeah.
I think this is exactly how Kiara is trying to show you guys around.
If it makes you feel better, none of them have ever been to my house, so you're one step ahead of me.
I give a little thumbs up and I kind of wink if that makes sense. Just
Hey.
I'm more charismatic than that. Oh,
No, you're not. This is the most awkward. There's some rooms down that way.
I'm slightly better at it.
And there are some beds in those rooms. That one has a small stream running through it.
Wait, really? That's dope. I mean, cool. Dope isn't a vocabulary.
It can be. And it's like, and then
Save doesn't count, Michael.
so yeah, Kiara is trying to show you around the place, but this is the most awkward tour ever.
Yes.
I make sure
I
Tiberius
imagine
does.
there's even some points that surprise her, so it's just like, oh, that's new.
Yeah.
And
Like he rearranged this room.
I've done that with my own house, so to be like, when did I do that?
It's like, yeah, I know this place like the back of my hand. When did I get that scar?
exactly.
But you have this. It is a pretty spacious place. You know, the person who lives here had extra rooms, almost like, you know, he was used to having lost visitors, travelers, you know, giving them a place to stay. If Frick had done better on his role, maybe he would have found something besides, you know, banana chips.
The banana chips are delicious.
So
Michael
yeah.
washes up pretty much any like unclean crockery that's still waiting inside of a sink or some sort of washing basin.
No, everything has been sort of like put away. You're guessing from the fact that there was like a programmed illusion, you know, for when Kiara came home, that he probably is, you know, Kiara, you know, he goes on trips and excursions. It's a druid thing. He likes to just go out and be a part of nature sometimes. So he could be gone for a little while because Andy didn't have time to build up a character sheet for him.
Hey, it's fine. It's okay. So now you guys know why I wanted to jump through that one time. The kingdom.
I can understand wanting to go home.
Kind of want to check up on our home as well, and then get back to our franchise.
Kiara, I would also remind you that you do have a magic mirror that once a day lets you see a person or a place, or the past of a person or a place.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I forget what it's called exactly, but I think it shows you like a 1 minute history of any item or person.
I forgot what we called it.
It's got an
Yeah.
actual name. I think it's the Mirror of the Past. I'll have to look it up now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea. Cause
So you
I
know,
think
continue
that-
your awkward tour, please. I want the awkward tour to continue.
Okay. So, I guess I kind of go back to the living room. I guess you guys are just leisurely just sitting in one of the like, I don't know, it's wooden, I guess, the couch. If that makes sense.
And Mirror of
I
the
don't-
Past is the item. I just put it in chat.
Okay. So I guess you guys are free to roam around, and then I kind of you guys remember my I forget what it was. You can see things that are invisible. I know that. Oh, is it the fire dragon? I forget.
What are we talking about?
You're kind of blinking out, and we're only hearing part of your conversation.
So I had a pet. It was
Yeah, and
I
then you
forget
didn't mention it for like 3 months, and now you have a chicken.
yeah. I let it just kind of. I set it on the ground, I scooted on the butt, and I let it.
The chicken
So,
is
yeah.
now just walking around pecking at things.
How's Tiberius doing with the chicken? Just curious.
He hasn't eaten it yet.
Okay. Wouldn't they be like the same size?
The chicken might even be bigger.
Oh, okay.
What is Tiberius?
He is a micro griffin.
Really? That small?
Well, he is tiny, so he's sort of like the size of a small cat.
Tiberius has had a battle mount since I bought Fang. Here you go. Micro Griffin info. You joke,
I gotta see what pet I had. I think it
You
was
had a
called
pseudo dragon.
Yeah, and then I think I changed it to a fiery dragon.
Yeah,
fairy
but they grow really, really big. But as it hasn't been actually in game, I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, I kind of just look around and I recognize something that nobody else see unless you guys do something.
I want everybody to give me an investigation or perception. We'll go with perception.
Because that's better in my investigation. Yeah. Damn it! I can't roll shit today. I can roll the hit.
I
Trevor.
willingly choose Frick to fail this check.
Okay. Frick is just really engrossed in those banana chips, apparently. Trevor is looking for a window or something underground. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, Michael, you see maybe not branches, plants and their leaves kind of strangely moving. So whenever that happens, I kind of look over. Well, exactly what I say. Come on now. It's okay. They're just friends. So I don't know if there's an animal that can turn invisible. Let's do that. Let's find some.
Okay, yeah, we're just going to make something up off the top of my head because you're screwing with me today. It's sort of like a small winged chameleon comes out of the plants.
Okay, this is George. I can't think of anything. So yeah, he's a good friend. Enjoy. And I kind of walk out. I just walk out.
You're really playing up that charisma fail. I love it.
Yeah, because that's how I am in my life. And I just kind of mutter to myself in character. Oh, this is stupidest idea. As I walk out the door.
Okay. What's everyone else up to?
I just kind of like lean to these two, and I'm just like, I'm very confused right now.
I hear cat.
That was Tiberius agreeing with you or making random noises. He does that a lot.
He's very good at making random noises.
Yep. You guys are within the country of Wildom, and you can't get back to the portal until her spell recharges, as I think she only has one of those a day.
How far away are we from home?
You probably would have been about a day's travel.
Should we go check up on things there? I'll take the silence as a yes.
And Michael heads off. Okay, so again, travel for you guys isn't really much of a problem, but you will notice that on the second day of travel, you've seen even less traffic than you're used to. I mean, on the main roads there should be someone going somewhere, but it's becoming more and more vacant as you get near the town. And once you're a couple of miles away, you can still see the smoke rising from the castle walls. And if you get closer, you see that the gates that normally had people going in and out, though being checked, is it's not unguarded. I mean, there's still guards there, but the gates are just shut and the guards are just standing there. There's no there's no business coming into town.
Is this normal, Trevor?
No.
Do you approach the guards?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
State your business.
Coming home.
And they kind of look at you. They kind of look at each other and okay, carry on. And they'll open up where you guys can enter.
Oh, look at one. What happened?
How long have you been gone?
I'll give him the last date that I remember.
Okay.
The night before we left, we were thrown into sigil. Is the date Trevor remembers?
Yeah. Okay. And he's kind of gets an awkward look to his face. He says, "The king was murdered.
What?
The people rioted. There's whole buildings that had been destroyed. People dead. It took over a week to get everybody just to quit killing each other.
Michael looks to the guard and goes, "Is the queen okay?"
There is no queen.
What do you mean?
The king was killed before he could get married. The line of William is ceased.
What happened to his bride-to-be?
He just kind of shrugs.
Michael rushes through the gate, the open gate now. Then
Okay.
Yeah, that's like Trevor at this point. He just panics and starts sprinting.
The city has been decimated. There's still, at this point, there's not dead people in the streets, but there are still people who are cleaning up the rubble from a destroyed building. You see the potion shop where Fizzy, the patched cauldron, was just destroyed. Yes, this wasn't your fault, Frick. And as you go running through, people are just very somber, but there's a lot more guards out now. It's martial law would be the best way to describe it.
Are they regular guards, or are they more of the Black Hand?
There's a few of the Black Hand, but for the most part, it is regular guards, and but people are just they're just trudging along, just doing their job. You can feel the loss in the city, and as you get to the castle, you see the black banners that have been rolled out, which is the sign that a member of the royal family has died, and this is still the mourning time.
Okay.
Michael just looks to Trevor and goes, "Where did Angela stay when she was in the city? Where would her family have?
I'm guessing in the castle, Andy.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Oh, hey, I just remembered we can actually bring up, the old the city map, which we haven't used in a while. So yes, she would have been in the castle walls.
I go up to one of the guards by the gate. I'm guessing there's one.
Yeah, it's not hard to find a guard. They're on. I mean, you've the last time you saw them out like this was when King William died, a few years back, and
Mhm.
there was things starting to riot, and this is about the time. This is the same method that Randolph used to restore order. You know this look.
Okay.
This is his handiwork all over it. He's imposing order.
Okay. That makes him feel better, kind of. So yeah,
So-
I'll go up to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to prompt you. You said you walked up to a guard.
Oh, yeah. Is the commander free to see somebody?
He kind of gives you a little bit of a blank look for a second, and he says, "Do you even introduce yourself, or you just walk up and say that?"
He probably starts off that way at first, and then corrects himself because he's like in partial panic right now.
Okay, how do you correct yourself?
Oh, shit.
Because he's giving you a blank
Sorry.
look when you just walk up and ask for the commander.
Sorry, I'm way ahead of myself. I'm Trevor Nestor. Is my brother able to see me? Is he even here?
He's here. I don't know if he'll have time to see you, but he kind of waves somebody else over, and they escort you towards the castle. And like I say, as you pass by, it's nothing. I would say you don't see anything happy. I mean, even the kids are just trying to make do with, what is left. In fact, you do. I want everyone to give me a perception roll. Actually, I didn't think I was going to be bringing this up so soon. Trevor is just lost in the destruction. Michael is lost in the destruction. Frick is pretty much the same. So you guys just see there's nobody smiling. Everybody's in fact even wearing muted colors. There are no street performers out. This is if you're on the street, you're getting where you're doing your job or getting where you need to go. So they will lead you to the front, the castle gates, and the guards will kind of exchange a few words and say, "So the regent is currently preoccupied, but we will let him know that you are back into the city, sir."
Thanks.
Michael, at this point, will actually speak up and go, "What happened? Where is the betrothed of the former king, Angela? Where can she be located?"
That is none of your concern. And they're kind of looking at you a little bit suspicious for that, Michael.
Michael's just not even paying any attention to the suspicious looks. He's just looking around like, what the hell just happened here?
That's pretty accurate description, I'd say, of what's going on. After they are going to after a moment, say you do need to not be blocking the streets. So, they're gonna usher you somewhere.
Yeah.
So you guys can just walk along. Again, there's still a lot of buildings that are standing, but a lot of them are fire damaged, um, ransacked. So some people are, like just, they have boards over their windows where someone apparently just smashed them and threw things in just because that's what you do in a riot, apparently. And you see somebody who is chasing away a group of kids, and you do see, you probably still recognize the boy who hung out with the were rats and was kind of giving you guys just a little bit of trouble because he's standing up to whoever's chasing the kids and, you know, being a belligerent, probably about 16, 17-year-old now. But there's
How long have we been gone?
a couple of months. The kid was about 15 or 16 before, anyways, but he does sort of, I think you guys know he came into some money, and apparently having, having good food and a good place to stay and being responsible for other kids kind of, helped him grow a little bit. That kid is currently, uh, ex- stopping some shop owner from, chasing after his friend. So he's a little, he's not paying attention to you, Michael.
Yeah, Michael just walks up to the shopkeeper and goes, "How much? How much?"
The kid just looks at you and says, "I don't need you to take care of us," and he's already handing the guy some money. Now, when they come here, they eat. I am paying for them. And the shop owner just kind of snorts and walks away.
Michael looks to the kid and goes, "What happened?"
And he kind of looks around and says, "Are you blind or just daft?"
I'm trying to understand what I'm seeing. I know that it's destruction, but what caused it besides
The
death
king
of
died and everyone went stupid. That's what happened. And he turns and walks away.
When did the king die? How?
He finally turns around and says, "It was about 3 weeks ago. Someone killed him. I don't know how. I wasn't there."
Thanks.
And he just walks away.
Michael goes back to rejoin the others. So
I shouldn't have left.
nothing that we could have possibly prevented. While here, we're not mature enough, nor are we skilled enough to deal with internal politics of a kingdom to be able to prevent a king's death. The only thing that we can do is try to provide order and stability and make sure that the right person gets onto the throne. And
How the hell are we going to do that?
I need to find. We're gonna have to step up, and we're gonna have to make our voices respectable.
I've been trying to do that for 25 years. Haven't gotten very far.
Trevor, you've gotten a lot farther than you think, but I don't know. I need to make sure that my daughter's okay. I need to see if Angela's okay. I swore an oath to Wilson to track down the enemy of the kingdom, and he swore to me that he would look after my daughter. He's gone. He was, besides Angela, he was one of the few people that actually could make sure that my daughter is safe, because I sure as hell can't. So I owe him knowing to find out who killed him.
We don't even know what happened. If by some chance my brother can spare a minute, I might be able to figure something out, but I guess he's regent now, and I don't know.
So
I'd like to
Regent
point
of
out
May.
that some taverns are still open.
I was gonna see if my house has been burnt down.
I thought maybe you guys would just try to find people who could talk, besides the teenager who dislikes adventurers.
Right.
well,
There
we
are
need to find
plenty
a
of people
guard.
to talk to.
We need to find a royal guard who is off duty and able to talk.
Something
You have to
tells
know
me
where-
there's no such thing as an off-duty royal guard right now.
Former royal guard? I mean,
Probably dead.
So
does the kingdom have like this history of just killing off the old royal guard even if a king dies? Because that seriously, that is a lot of experience that
the
you're
the
losing.
personal guards of King William, fell, through a variety of accidents, but people have retired from the military. I think
Yeah,
Rihanna told you guys about one that she met who, was just sat at the bar and drank all day because he was retired, and it's what he did.
Oh yeah, what was his name? I don't remember.
Michael knows him as well. Might be something because he might still have contacts within the old guard who would be able to tell him something. So let's try and find that.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up because I haven't used these guys in a while. So, I'm taking it that you guys are more or less just heading to a place where you can find people to talk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I found the note I'm looking for. Let me see. Okay. So yeah, and if you're trying to find a specific person, I'm going to need investigation checks. Trevor can get advantage on this one. Okay. So, Trevor, you know more or less where to find, some of the.
I hit the wrong button.
Okay.
I closed myself out of the game.
Okay. Well, you know where to find people, especially, like retired soldiery and all that. So,
Okay.
you start checking out some of the local bars, and there are a few of them that are still open. Now, if you're looking for the gentleman known as Sterling Exeter, who was a former captain, it turns out that he is still alive and he is still drinking. This
Michael
is where you
walks up
speak
to-
to him.
Michael walks up, takes the
Okay,
seat.
I'm back in the game. Sorry.
Michael walks up, takes a seat right next to him, and pays for the next drink and looks over at him and goes, "Sterling, my old friend, how are you?"
Quite nice of you, good sir, to buy an old soldier a drink. It's quite nice of you indeed.
It's not only
I'll
an
sit
old
next to him.
soldier, but it's an old friend as well.
Yes, friend, I'm always, I was,
Well,
that was the end of his
Seems that we-
thought.
Michael just looks the man up and down and goes, "I need a bit of help, Sterling, because I've been away for a little while, and
Oh, well, it was not a good time to come back, I'm afraid. The city's seen better days, better days.
yes, I know it has. I was just wondering if you knew, might have any information on what's happened, and
The cities were running rampant with hooligans and miscreants. That's what happened. This is what occurs when you don't have a strong military foundation. People just hoodlums and hoodwinking and things of that nature.
But why would the people be in so much grief? Why are the black flags out?
He kind of looks at you like you don't know what that means. That's the fall of a king, boy. Even if he was a lesser king, he's still a king. We're all in mourning, and he lifts up his drink to him.
Michael nods, but why? Why is...
Well, because when a man dies, even if you didn't respect him on a personal or professional level, you still drink to him, unless he was your enemy, in which case you still drink to him. It's what we do, boy.
Michael just shakes his head and goes, "No, Sterling. What I want to know is, why is he gone?
Well,
What's happened?"
You see, when a person receives substantial physical damage, their body stops working. I feel like you should understand death at your age.
Sterling, this is a very sobering moment for me. I do
Well,
not
then
have
you have not had enough to drink, and he pours you a drink.
Michael takes a very deep, slow breath for a moment, and then goes, "How did he come about to such bodily damage? What? Surely you, with all of your military connections, with all of your knowledge of courtly intrigue and battle planning, would know how this."
Oh,
came to
yes,
be."
I was a great soldier. I was a captain. I fought against the Wolfmen. That's how I got my bum knee. Not that it was actually combat. You see, it was one of the Wolfmen jumped out and startled my horse. It wasn't as battle hardened as I was, and then it fell. I still managed to kill the beast. Even trapped underneath my horse, but my leg was never the same again after that, I'm afraid. And that's why I finished up my hitch, but then I took retirement after that. Yes.
Well, would you still be in contact with any of your old comrades of arms who would have been?
Oh, yes, we used to speak all the time. They're all dead now, I'm afraid. I'm Sterling. Sylvester, he died last year. I believe it was liver failure. The man never could hold his drink, you see.
Michael just nods slowly and goes, "Well,
I tell you, I've been waiting so long for this guy to come back.
yeah." And Michael
You thought he was a military genius.
Michael's starting to run real quick on patience with this guy, but he goes, "So would you happen to know anybody who would have been still in any?"
Oh, well,
part
I
of
don't really talk to the younger soldiery. They're too busy to come by and to pay their respects to an honored retiree soldier myself.
Not all of us are that way.
You're a good man. Have a drink with me. He doesn't even notice your armor. He just pointed and said that.
I'll just looks at him and goes, "So, if I was to work for the council right now, where would be a good place to let off some steam while off duty?"
Well, basically wherever you can find a person with a drink to share. And many of the on duty, when they're off duty, they just stay at the barracks because you never know when you're going to martial law. See, they're on call. See you later.
All right. Later, Kiara. Michael will nod at that, and then he'll look over to Trevor, and he'll go, "Well, it looks like as if we need to start on our military duties then."
Oh boy, you're too much of a fop to be military. No disrespect intended, but it's good to see that some of the generation are doing their civic duties. The city needs people like you with the king dying and all. Terrible, terrible business that.
Who's replaced him, Sterling?
Well, it depends on how you mean replace. There was no line of succession. The last of a long and glorious lineage. If you understand. I believe that technically the protocol means that Archduke Atticus is now the highest ranking uh, nobleman in the country. But that Nestor fellow, he is running things in the city, as there is no one else to run things in the city.
Understood.
And now all 3 lions are gone. That's a bit of old lore that you and I had spoken about, Andy. Oh God, I don't even think anybody else will get that. Michael will stand up, put a few extra copper down, and then move forward to pay for Sterling's next week, and then he'll walk away. So it's like 5 copper.
Yeah, that's no problem. This guy basically, this is where he's at all the time. Just telling old war stories, most of which, you will not find anyone else agrees that the events turned out the way he describes them.
Michael's gonna go looking for some off-duty guards.
Trevor probably knows where to find some actual sober people. But you guys mentioned Sterling, so you found Sterling.
Please excuse the kitten.
It's what cats do.
The kitten is wanting you to inspect the most glorious of holes.
Anyway, rather than hear that, Trevor can use, his status as a soldier to speak to someone, and in the interest of not, sending you guys around the ringer on this, there's no exact information. The king was stabbed. No suspects. No one witnesses. But once it got out that he was killed, the city just went crazy. And Nestor took control, got everybody in order in the way that he gets people in order, which meant that for the better part of a week, many people were executed until the others realized that he wasn't screwing around, and Archduke Atticus is functionally in charge of the country because there was no successor for William or for Wilson.
That just escalated. Trevor,
Huh?
We need to talk to some people. Do you know anybody else besides your brother who would have any information? Any way that we can talk with former guard? Any way that we can talk with current guard? Any way for us to be able to get into the barracks to figure out what was going on? There's got to be some form of investigation into what actually happened to the king.
Oh yes, that was an investigation. As far as again, there's no public suspect. There's certainly nobody was caught.
Are we alone right now, I'm guessing?
You can be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just summarizing the information because the way Michael asked questions, you would be here all day.
Okay. Do you want my honest opinion, Michael?
Yeah.
I could be wrong, and I hope I am. But I don't think it was an accident. Or somebody from outside.
So you're thinking that it was somebody inside who did him in?
I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to go any further, but I'm probably wrong.
Trevor, who do you think it was? Because I need to prepare myself on this one. Because if where you're lending is where your thought process is going is where mine is, I need to be able to steel myself to keep myself from doing something stupid because this puts my daughter at risk. This puts Angela at risk. This is something that I really need
I'm
to
sure
know
they're
about.
fine. If I can, might be able to get in and talk with somebody and figure out what happened. But like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. I usually am.
Actually, you've had a remarkably good track record of being right.
You're not making me feel better. I know that was supposed to, but it's
No, I know. I'm just
just the direction that I've seen people going.
so. Who do you think it was?
I don't want to say it out loud.
All right. Then we need to figure out. We need to make things safe. And
I think we need to stick together and not ruffle too much feathers until I can get into the barracks. No offense, but you two probably aren't getting in there.
Oh, our last
No
dictum
offense taken.
our last dictum was to work on order of the king towards finding the enemy of the state. So that
Well,
puts us.
that's kind of
that
a moot
puts us-
point right now.
Yeah, I know, but that does put us under your command.
Not so much since Wilson's dead. But we can
You're
still
still-
maybe.
Yeah. So you gotta be the captain. You gotta be our captain right now, unfortunately, and that's.
Well, how about we go see if my place is.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
If anything, we can have a drink.
I'm gonna be staying remarkably sober for the next few nights.
More for me.
Trevor,
Say, Andy, big question. Is
Yes.
my house still standing?
mostly.
Okay.
The structure is there, but it needs. It could use a little bit of refurbishing. Like it was a strong stone house, so the fire only consumed the wooden parts of it. So
It's gutted. Okay.
at least the first floor. But you can go in. You can chase out some of the people who are squatting there. They didn't break anything. They just were looking for a place to sleep.
Right.
Mostly look like they might have been on something. But you can get them out. They weren't any problems. The upper floors are okay because they were still locked and nobody bothered to run upstairs and shatter break through particularly strong doors like that. Somebody probably just threw something flaming in through the door or the window. But I'd say it's about 50% there. But within the next couple hours, Trevor, a messenger is going to be finally find you. Your brother will speak to you. He has a short amount of time that he can spare to catch you up on things.
Great.
All right, so they lead you in. They basically they're going to tell you even now you got to leave your weapons behind. Don't imagine that's a problem for you, but only Trevor's allowed in, and you're still going to be waiting like a good 45 minutes for him to finally be able to come in. He walks in. He's got that tired, he hasn't slept in about 2 days look, but still completely shaved and looks like the normal leader he always was. He just gives you a nod. Glad to see you finally return home.
I was gone longer than I thought I was.
It only took one night for things to go to hell.
What happened?
Someone got in. Someone got through everything I had set up to protect him, and they killed him.
Do we know who?
No. There might have been some enchantments on the bolt that was fired, but they were apparently designed to fade after use. So there's no way of tracking it.
Can I do an insight check?
Yes, you can. He is trying to be, guarded. He's trying to be you know, the way he always is about things. Just blunt and to the point. But you can tell that there's a lot of emotion that he's keeping just under the surface. And for him, that's shame that he failed, anger that he failed. But on top of all that is that professional, reserved stoicism that is what is keeping him from just going out and beating people till they give him information. He's got a job to do, and he's going to do it.
Okay. Trevor feels a little more relieved, but
And
okay.
Randolph will tell you, I don't have a lot of time. I have to get back to work.
Yeah, no, I understand.
All right? And unless you have a question for him, he'll just nod and walk out of the room.
One last thing. What happened to the queen bee?
We got her out safely.
Okay. I'm guessing she's back home.
Probably.
Okay. They're both fine then?
Only no harm came to anyone but the king.
Well, at least there's one good thing, I guess.
He just sort of glares at you for that particular comment.
We were friends, Randolph. I had to make sure she was alright.
And then he'll kind of give you the quick nod and go on about his business.
I will scoot.
Okay.
I'll go back to find them.
Okay. And I see, Michael, that you want to use the mirror. Even though she had to leave, I'm going to say that the mirror is still available because why not? That's actually why there is a mirror of the past.
Michael is going to try and use it to see the moment that the king died, or at least try to figure out to try and see who would.
I'm going to say this is going to be everybody can be here for this. And let me just take a quick look at the mirror and how it works. Instead of reflection, you see scenes of the target's past conveyed is accurate but random and cryptic, and in no particular order. Okay, so I assume that you're all looking at the mirror, unless you would prefer to be out drinking and fighting. Because right now, the criminal side, what's functioning is probably thriving, even if they have to work harder to avoid being caught. But this is, you see it is, you remember Minority Report, how everything was like broken and fractured? This is very much like that. You see the king was out on his balcony. There was a lot of, there was a crowd. Apparently he was making some kind of speech. A lot of people down below. You can't understand what anybody is saying. Then there's the scene of him lying on the ground. People are scattered, running. The Black Hand is coming through with their shields, surrounding everybody. Angela is leaning over him. And then we're back up to he's standing, he's talking. A bolt hits him from out of nowhere. And then it all seems to fade. And you're looking at your reflections again.
So it was a sniper. And somebody who's going to have that much ability to hit from that far and hit through all the guards is going to be very good. Mark, can I get an? Is there any sort of role to sort of like try and make sense and order from all of it?
I'll say that needs to be an investigation. That's definitely trying to use your noggin. With that, you could tell that the arrow or the bolt that was fired, it's kind of hard to tell, but you know it's some sort of projectile. It looked like it was pitch black, which is unusual, but you couldn't, it didn't, not like it radiated any sort of magic that you could identify. And the vision itself was sort of choppy and broken up, so you can't even really tell like what direction or things like that.
Yeah, Michael just looks incredibly pissed now.
They're okay, Michael. I asked Randolph for you.
It's not just about them, it's also about him. It's
I think I was wrong, so that's a good thing.
there's a first for everything, so glad there's this one. But
Can I go find Learned?
Sure.
You guys can come with me if you want.
oh yeah, Michael's gonna go with you.
All right. He always hung out in what I referred to as, the edge of Lower Skint. It wasn't exactly the worst part of town, but it was pretty darn close. So there's you can see that things are being rebuilt around his particular tavern he always hung out at, but he's still there in the same seat as always.
I sit down.
Oh, you've been gone for quite a while.
Unfortunately. What would it cost to get information about a certain weapon?
Prices may vary.
Fair enough. Is there anybody current or past that you know of that uses black weapons?
Well, a lot of people like to use it for the sheer aesthetic, and especially assassins who are actually trying to go unseen. Others just think it makes them look cooler.
Anybody that you might have that you could guess might have it out for
I don't deal in
Hold'em
guesses.
or work for? That's fair. Any specific organization?
And what do you offer in exchange?
I have coin.
Hmm.
Or
It's like coin would do, but it is the least appealing of the currencies I trade in.
Michael puts down his amulet of anti-scrying sight and the ring of no, he doesn't put down the ring. And the silver rapier.
Uh, It'll take those if that's what you're offering, but uh, for those of you who have talked to him, you know he likes to trade information for information.
that's what I was thinking. It's like I didn't really remember with this guy. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yes, he's an information broker, so he likes information is much more valuable than gold. So, are you offering up the those two items?
Yeah.
Out
Okay.
of character, was there anything specific we found out that was going on in Sigil?
Uh, I mean, there's always something interesting happening in Sigil, but I wouldn't say, from what you experienced, nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, Rule of Three is probably the information broker there, but he's much more guarded than anybody else. And even when he does talk, he talks in threes, so it means people
Right.
have a very hard time deciphering. So, probably the most interesting thing is the fact that you guys were there, and you know, although you don't know
Nothing
much
that
about
we
how
could
you got there.
probably. Right. Nothing that we could probably like trade information. I don't think.
I mean, you can tell him about your time in Sigil, and he'll give you what he feels is a fair amount of information in exchange. Because the fact that you were all in Sigil is new to him. He just knew you vanished.
All right. Well, Trevor will explain that, and if Michael still wants to give up those bits, he can.
Okay. Um,
Well,
Michael, I assume that unless you take them back.
he hands him over still on top of that information.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, so he tells you, um, again, many mercenaries that want you to be covert will use a black weapon, but in this case, I think we're being far more specific, aren't we? There,
Hopefully.
it has been known to. This was even new to me, but it's not enough to help you out, I'm afraid. But there was supposedly a form of, I guess, shadow arrow is the best way to call it. It is said that it can be shot through one shadow and it can come out another. Once it's been used, it will just become a regular arrow. It's. I honestly wasn't 100% sure that this technique or this technology was even still existed. It was something from rumors and books from a long time ago. Definitely a favored of assassins who can afford such a thing because they are probably not easy to make due to their rarity. And they do tend to hit with a lot more punch than a normal. Not quite to the level of, say, an arrow of slaying, but they can hit hard, and that's if you don't poison them first.
Interesting.
And Michael, sorry, I can't type everything out. He will just he'll tell you that he needs more than theory to work with. He deals in fact. Now, if you want to show him a diagram, instructions, but you haven't received those things. You were just given a shopping list.
Yeah. So.
But he's interested, and if you can bring him something solid, that would be very valuable to him.
Yep.
The only reason he will tell you this much about the shadow arrow is because it's something he's heard of before and is obviously still in play. But he doesn't have much information because nobody has ever admitted to still having such a thing. It could have been that somebody just had one, an heirloom, and then somebody decided to try it out, or maybe somebody has recovered this lost art. Either way, he would love an answer himself.
Thank you.
No thanks necessary. It's what I do.
But it is still a polite offering to give.
It's a fair trade.
Exactly.
Balance. I am curious how you got to Sigil and if you happen to come across that information.
We would like to know too.
No, maybe it was just random. It happens sometimes.
Learned, knowing us, is anything ever that random?
Hmm. You do seem to be agents of chaos.
Fair enough.
Can't really argue that.
It's why you're so interesting. But if I had something more, I would give you a price in exchange for it. If you learn more, you know where to find me, and I am a good man to be owed a favor by. I always repay my debts.
No, that's a good thing to know. Michael looks to Ferk and then just goes, "We just seem to be always getting deeper, aren't we?"
As it seems.
How are you involved in this? You weren't even here for
No,
roughly a month or two.
no, but
It's
you never get
interesting,
that.
though.
Yeah, and wherever something interesting happens, something always seems to connect back. So,
The
Well,
world
think
is a
about
big
it.
place, and you found out is more than one of them. You really think you are personally responsible for every event? Because if you
nope.
are, that would be very interesting to know.
No, I don't think that we're personally responsible for every event, but I do believe that there might be a connection to every event.
I just think it's interesting after we're unknowingly shipped somewhere the king is killed.
That does feel like a stretch of a coincidence.
Starting to think there's no such thing as a coincidence anymore. And I'm finding myself sounding more and more like my brother.
Michael then looks at Trevor, or like one of my very, very paranoid rings.
Okay, if I get paranoid enough to the point that I start making a chart on my wall, please just stab me.
No, we could put ours together, and then we could get a lot of red thread, and we could buy stock in a company that makes red.
Frick's just
I
like,
believe they call that a seamstress.
Think of it more like a guild. We would need a full guild working on the amount of red thread that we would need.
well, thank you again. I have one more thing to go check out. You two don't have to go with me. I just have to go by the docks real quick.
No, I'll go with you. I've got nothing else to do.
Okay.
We need to stick together here.
Fair point. Last thing I need is to get stabbed in the gut again.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have enough thread to be able to put you back.
I
It's
could
all
probably
on my
put
wall.
myself together though. Zoriel taught me this cool lay hand thingy. Anyway,
Well, just so long as you're not doing hand jobs in the middle of everything, that's fine.
Okay, Kyle, we're going to have a talk about what I do and do not appreciate in my games. That's walking the line.
Sorry.
Okay, so you get down to the docks, which are still fairly deserted. There's just, not a lot of people want to come to a city that is under these particular circumstances. Even if it
I'm
had,
guessing the Armada isn't there anymore.
well, you can't tell, but
That's right.
there's a couple of boats in the docks, um, and I'm gonna say it doesn't take you that long to figure out this is mostly the less reputable of the ships. So it's people who don't, if anything, they like doing business in a city that is desperate.
Hmm.
But we're talking about the dock used to be full of ships. We're talking about 3.
Okay. I'm looking specifically for the Miltree place.
It's still standing. Like most places, windows are being replaced, and it is closed down right now. But you can tell that somebody is working to restore it. So that
Okay.
means that the people who own it are still around.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Oh, what now?
We regather at our franchise. We gather resources, and we make a plan of attack while trying to get information here.
What are we going to do? What is our step from here?
What can we do?
Exactly.
The only thing that
What
we can
should we do, I guess?
Better question. Yes.
establish a better kingdom than what's been left behind.
And
Establish
how are we
a
going to do
better-
that?
by actually being forces of good.
Oh, Michael,
getting down.
just from what you understand about, the way the noble hierarchy was set up, and when Wilson died and didn't leave an heir, there was already 2 archdukes who were, the highest ranking people. So, if one of them has been more or less considered the king of Wilsdom, then the kingdom still stands. It's just under new leadership.
He's speaking more about from a spiritual, metaphysical sense, not an
okay.
actual we
I
need to
thought-
reestablish a new kingdom.
Okay, just wanted to be clear. It is hard to tell with you, no offense.
No, I understand that, and especially given my current state of play, it's pretty much like, okay, are you talking?
You
weirdly,
have
or are you
had
talking-
some really ambitious ideas.
Yes, I have. No, we take this, we make something better, and we have to plan that out, and we have to make it step by step, an action that leads towards something better.
I mean, personally, I don't like the idea of asshole running the country, but I don't really have much of a choice.
I don't like the thought of your brother running the country. I don't like the thought of one of the dukes in particular, one of the archdukes in particular running the country. It might end up being that way, but we have to be able to make things better. And we have to make light shine. Part of that is finding out what happened and bringing justice there. Another part of that is establishing ways to prevent laws from being abused. Another way of that is
Doesn't matter who you put in charge; it's always going to happen.
I
So
recall
kingdoms are
telling
run.
Sorry, this is a meta moment because I'm a terrible GM. I recall starting this game by telling you the story of an angel who fell from grace because of the arrogance of thinking she could fix everything. I named this
Michael,
episode a Pride of Angels, and gosh, it was such a fitting title. Okay, please continue. Meta moment over.
Are you sure? Are we okay?
No, I'm going to do it again. I can't shut up. You didn't all have to agree.
I mean, doesn't necessarily have to be us making everything all right, but we have to put down the footwork and,
Do we?
and the base building. Who else is going to?
Who says we're the best people for the job? Us?
Who says we're the worst people for the job?
Me. Look at our track record so far. It's not very great.
look at the track record, who we would consider to be the better people in the situations.
Well, I think my honest opinion is like if I had a word in the matter, I'd fight tooth and nail to put my brother on that throne.
And
Yeah, he's an evil, cruel bastard, but
no, this is where I would.
he's better than the other ones.
But the thing of it is that to me, I think the individual would get lost under him. I mean, yeah, there would be order, but order without a certain amount of chaos is just oppression, and chaos gets brought in by the individual. If you can balance the order of a society towards the exemplary greatness of an individual who can change even certain aspects of a society for the better, then you've got a balance that, while for the most part is not achievable under normal circumstances, if brought up over generations, could potentially be the greatest thing that anybody could have ever gifted to the future.
Guess I can't argue that.
So, we've got 1 foot in one dimension, 1 foot in this one. That puts us in a position to be able to get information and resources that nobody else can really obtain. And as well, we have a lot on our side that we have to figure out, because coincidence doesn't necessarily come. Coincidence kind of gets stretched thin when you've got something that happens to us, and then within that time frame that we're gone trying to figure out everything.
That is very much bothering me.
Yeah. And
I agree that I don't think we could have stopped it, but
I think we would have made things a bit harder for them if we were here, because of how much of a chaotic influence we can be. I think what we need to do is start honing that chaos so that we can create into a better means. I
did manage to out Victor. 2 years too late, but still happened.
Yeah. So we need to be able to do something like that, only this time not let anybody get away. And we need to make an impression of something better for others around us to strive for. Which we've not been very good at, but I think now might be the time for us to push for that. I've got a list of things that I need to do that might help. I've got some theories on what's going on behind the scenes, because I think this is not just connected to here. I think there are other things in play. Because we've been tried to be used as agents ourselves. There are agents walking on this plane. And
I don't like feeling like somebody's fucking puppet.
Fortunately, we kind of are.
Yeah.
It's just knowing who's trying to be the puppet master of the entire string, and then rewriting the script and forcing them to have to act it out. Because there's a puppet master. Puppet master's working to a script in order to put on a show. And they want that show to be something great so that they can get acknowledged. Not here. Not out in the open. Because no actor really wants to be seen as they themselves, the actor. They want to be seen as what they're portraying. He wants an end result in the script that he's written that doesn't show himself, but shows what he's creating.
Well, I've about we pull those strings and bring his ass down in light? What do you think, Frick?
To be honest, I'm not sure. And plus, we prefer before we make a decisive action, we need to bring this to the full group.
I agree.
As do I.
Bring up possibilities only. But whatever we decide, I'm on your side.
Hey, through it all, we might be able to find some ancient libraries as well.
Fair point.
You know, shot in the dark, but I'm pretty sure I know somebody with an
Know somebody with a what?
ancient library. Not a big one. Probably cat sitting on a couple of the books, but
I might need to go there to apologize for some things as well. If he even remembers.
20-80 chance.
Yeah.
Shot in the dark could be a complete waste of time, but it's got a lot of books, a lot of dangerous things, but probably won't get anything out of him about it. There's also probably the monk, if we're even allowed in. Or we go see what we can find, maybe someplace in. But like Frick said, we should talk with everyone else. See what they think.
Yeah. I hope Brianna's okay.
Unless you guys want to do something else in the city, Kiara can take you back to Chalt, and from there you can return to Sigil when you like. Or if you want to run down a few more leads here.
Let's go speak with everybody's favorite demi-lich.
Okay.
What do you think, Frick? Do you want to go meet Simpkins? Wait, has Frick met Simpkins yet?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Nope.
No? Crazy lich with a bunch of cats. Trevor's bestie.
What?
Okay.
Trevor, high or low?
I don't know. Low.
Good for you.
Oh, good.
You find your way into the sewers, and it's pretty empty. I mean, it's, the Ratmen cleared out a while back, so it's mostly just unused tunnels under the city. And you were pretty easily able to find your way back to the one that you're used to that lead to Simpkins. There's the shoes have almost worn down to nothing, but there's a couple of pieces of soul that are still walking. Those animated shoes have almost disintegrated themselves.
I forgot about those.
Yeah, when he makes something, it lasts.
Is there like a small dent on in the ground now where they've been walking?
No, it's the stone is actually good enough. Maybe he's repairing that, but
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But you find your way into Simpkins' lair, and as is usually the case, he is sitting there reading a book. This one looks like it might be upside down, but maybe that's just the language.
Simpkins.
Michael, you'll need to give me an investigation roll. And Simpkins, he looks at him. Oh, good to see you again. I was just reading. I didn't realize you were going to be back so soon. Michael, you find nothing with that roll.
I can't find those books of charisma. No!
So how you, Simpkins? This is Frick. He's another friend of mine.
Hello, and he's a skeleton with a robe on, and there are like 8 cats scattered around doing cat things, sleeping, sleeping, eating.
The one time I don't have a cat around me.
I know. Yeah, Simpkins doesn't blink at you people being here. Well, he can't blink.
I was gonna say he has eyelids.
Oh,
The only piece of skin he has left.
if I had known you were going to be by, I would have gotten some more tea, and I got into the voice really easily today. And I'm afraid I haven't had a chance to go out to the store since we were last here all together.
It's been a while.
It has. He kind of does that thing where he's looking off, and you know he's trying to remember anything that's happened within the past 50 years. They all blur together after a while.
So Simpkins, I'm actually wondering, do you think we might be able to get a peek at some of your books?
Oh, well, anytime, and he hands you the book that he was just reading.
I'll take a peek at it.
Okay, what languages do you speak?
Common, Elven, Dwarven.
This is none of those.
It's interesting. What do you think, Michael?
Is it written in Infernal?
No.
Yep. Nope. Michael's just kind of looking at him. But Michael just asked Simpkins, "What's it about?" Because I can't read it.
Oh, I was actually hoping you could tell me.
That's bad. What language do you think this is in?
And he takes it back and he turns it right side up. Oh, this is a rare form of undercommon. It must be called down under common. See, because it's... And he's flipping the book right side and upside.
Well, I think that comes from the land of Oz. Or the kingdom under the mountain.
Well, there's a lot of kingdoms under a lot of mountains.
Alright. Actually, Simpkins, do you have any books that would like make one more charming and charismatic?
Oh, yes, I had to give one to Trevor here. It must have been 3 or 4 weeks back. He's a terrible speaker, you know.
It's almost 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, I thought you would have learned how to talk in that amount of time.
He's been hanging around me. Unfortunately, that kind of has a wearing of ability.
He does have a point.
I can see how you would be kind of grating after a while.
Yep. Michael just kind of like nods to that. He's like, "Yeah, that's true." But if you still have any of those around, could I borrow
Oh,
one?
sure. He reaches over and he finds it on the shelf with no problem and hands it to you.
Michael will begin devouring. Will begin devouring this thing with his eyes as much as
Okay, it will have no magic for another 95 years. Did I forget to mention that part? They recharge after a century.
No,
It's
didn't.
basically just a manual leadership, but with no magic.
actually, Michael will still read that because that's actually quite good.
You might find it an interesting read, but it will give you no benefits, I'm afraid.
I know. But yeah, Michael will start reading that and taking notes on how to be a leader.
I'll have some casual conversation with Simpkins.
Well, we've only got half an hour, so be careful with
Yeah.
that.
That's why I'm saying I'm going to. I'm not like I'm doing.
Good plan. I've got somewhere I have to be.
Right. So. And then we got permission to poke around. I'm gonna see if I can find anything. I don't know. What the fuck are we looking for, Michael?
Yeah, well, sort of curious about that.
We're looking for any information about like shadow arrows and as well if he's got any notes on like any of the struggles that have been going on for quite a while, like anything or any notes on any sort of bad actors that would have wanted any of his artifacts in the beginning to like take over the kingdom or anything like that.
When you ask him about bad actors, he tells you that he hasn't been to the theater in a couple of years, so he's not really sure, what's popular these days. And then he begins a long rant on the last play he did attend, which you think is actually just when he met Trevor, because it sounds a lot like the stories Trevor told you about when he met Simpkins.
Yeah.
And that goes on for a couple of minutes.
While they're doing that, I'm gonna poke through the bookshelves, see if I can find anything that.
Give me an investigation at disadvantage. It is Simpkins after all. You're pretty sure that there is no order to these books. You found the ones that Jeslyn gave him, though. The roaming gnome. Gnome away from home.
Just put those back.
Yeah.
A wandering gnome that gathers no moss.
That one is not in the collection. But, you can get it and complete the trilogy for him.
Noted. Hey, Simpkins. Random question for you.
Sure.
Do you know anything about a magic item called...
I did not hear that last part.
Do you know anything about a magic item called a shadow arrow?
Shadow arrow. Is
Maybe
it
I'll get 'em
made
when I-
out of shadow? Because then it would only hurt a shadow.
Well, the one that I found out about is you shoot it through a shadow. Supposedly.
Well, I mean, you can shoot anything through a shadow, because a shadow is, not solid. He rolled a 1, so no, he doesn't know anything. Even with his great intellect, I'm still going to play that as he collected.
He's deranged. I know.
Yes.
I got him.
Well, I was going to say he spent his unlife working on cursed artifacts related to death.
Mm-hmm.
This killed people, but that didn't mean it fell under his purview.
Right. It was a shot in the dark.
Because it's a shadow arrow shot in the dark.
That wasn't intended. Do I get a plot point? No, I'm kidding.
No.
Simpkins, when it comes to powers that you've researched over the researched artifacts regarding how they could use them to undo, the very fabric of nature, which ones would you think would be trying to be at work here within Weldon to cause chaos, upset, redistribution of power networks and everything? Which ones would strike you as being, the most active? The ones that you would have to be fearful of the most being at work here?
Make a charisma save for me. He casts a spell, and you're suddenly in a blank room. He's going to be banished for the next minute. Now, Trevor, I know you're a trusting sword, but you got to be careful. You can't bring spies down here. Now, I can kill him in just a moment. Let me find my killing dagger.
Wait, what? Huh?
And he's digging around
What
through things. Well, you see, I could kill him with magic, but I've been wanting to try out this dagger. I was given it a long time ago to kill people with, and I never got a chance. It's a shame not to put something to its purpose.
Hold on. Michael's not a spy.
No, of course he is. He was speaking with someone who was reading that book by that other lich, not like me, the God Lich guy. And now he's over here asking about world-ending artifacts. Of course he's a spy. And he's looking for the dagger again.
Simpkins, he's not a spy. He's just a very misguided individual who doesn't know how to word things properly.
And he pulls out a rolling pin. I guess this'll do. And he's just waiting. He's waiting for him to reappear.
So if you could not kill him, that'd be great. He's not a spy. He just makes very poor decisions sometimes.
Well, the two aren't mutually exclusive. A dumb person can be manipulated into being a spy, and that's how Vecna got where he is, with stupid people doing stupid things and giving him the power.
I completely agree with you. But that's not Michael. He's just an idiot sometimes, like me. Frick is probably the smartest one out of us all.
He does have that look of great wisdom.
Yes.
I can just imagine Frick now, like, pulling on the beginnings of a Fu Manchu goatee.
I want Grandmaster Frick again one day.
And in Frick's wisdom, he knows Michael isn't a spy, right, Frick?
Indeed, he's a man on a mission, willing to do whatever it takes to get it done.
Well, I suppose, and with that, Michael blinks back into being, and Simpkins brings the rolling pin down, but he has terrible strength, which means that it just bounces off of his armor.
Of all the things that you...
Of all the, I'm willing to see like him critting with a rolling pin and to see it's like some ancient cursed object of cooking.
Nope, it was just a regular rolling pin.
Michael just looks at Simpkins and goes, of all the things that you could have done, I think this is the one that hurts the most.
He just rolled a natural 20 to crack you upside the head. You only take 2 points of damage, though. Oh, wait a minute. I can draw a card for this. It was a natural... It was fair. Darn, you weren't holding anything to make you drop. You drop your shield.
Michael gathers back up the shield. It's just like, my pride. Simpkins, my pride. Leave me at least with that.
And he's now looking at the broken rolling pin. I feel like the dagger would have held up a little bit better. And he just throws it away.
Can somebody please tell me why... Okay, of all the ways that you could have killed me if you wanted to kill me, why that one?
Because I've never got a chance to use the dagger before.
Michael, maybe you should, apologize for certain past.
I don't know how to even begin to apologize without actually taking action to make sure that it isn't just words. And that's what I'm trying to do here.
Simpkins is...
The dude just hit you upside the head with the rolling pin. Just start with the simple, I'm sorry for...
I'm sorry for being a jackass and not listening to you more readily.
Well, I don't know when you would have listened to me before. He kind of leaves me confidentially. I think I might be a touch insane.
If you are insane, then the world is lost. Think on that for a moment.
He just tried to hit you with the broken rolling pin. I told you he was a spy. I'm going to go get the dagger now.
Simpkins, I want to stop the chaos. I want to stop and just.
You
I
can't
want-
stop the chaos. There's a whole plane of it out there.
I mean, the chaos that my presence brings.
Oh, I got a dagger that'll help with that.
No.
Simpkins, I want to make things right. I want to be able to look back when all is said and done throughout my life, that all my actions have led to something greater and better than what I had been left with in my own life.
That's just beautiful. It's also pointless and completely stupid, but it's beautiful.
See, Simpkins, he's not a spy. Spies don't have thoughts like that.
That's a fair point. If you actually have that, he is very interested. I picture it being one of those daggers that, has like the rainbow colors that you tilt it in the light. Like, ooh, this is just gorgeous.
And it was purple and green and yellow.
and blue and gold. But Simpkins, I think I have been used by something, and I need to know what in order to be able to stop it. And you're the one who would more than likely know, because you've been researching this for years on how everything can be used to destroy life. That would give you some insight on how to make life. Not in an actual like physical sense, but in a metaphysical, how one could potentially make everything better, and what agents would have used somebody to make things work for their own gain.
And he turns to you, Trevor, after hearing, considering all this, and says, I think something ate his brain. We should take a look. I got a dagger around here. We'll take a look inside his head.
Simpkins, maybe we should do that next time.
Because, you don't want an intellect devourer running around. Because he's just not that bright. You don't get life from death, boy. Well, technically you do, in the sense that you eat something to consume it to continue your own life, but that doesn't really apply when it comes to me.
I'm not
In
talking
some
about.
ways, though. In some ways, though, you can view it as like, you know what? This is too serious for Simpkins. Never mind. Simpkins, it's always wonderful having tea with you.
I think I might have some tea around here. And he's back into the cupboard, throwing stuff around.
Not that teapot, that's the poison one.
No, he's just looking for the tea bags. And, the cats are joining in, knocking stuff off.
You rang.
Michael tries to pick one up in order to stop it from knocking over something and exploding the universe.
Well, fortunately, they don't have access to those items right now. But you do find a dagger that has a tag on it. It says Dagger of Killing.
I find like a pile of papers or something and just like put it under there.
Okay. Not a bad idea.
Michael just looks puzzled because it's like a dagger of killing. Isn't that all daggers?
Yes, it is. You didn't say it was a magic dagger.
Okay, we'll have not poison tea and then get out.
Oh, he doesn't have any tea. He'll spend an hour looking for it.
Michael will pull tea bags out of his rations inside of his bag of holding.
I remember this is Simpkins. He will spend all day looking
That
for
is true.
nothing. And I mean, he will actually look for nothing all day. He thought he found it once, but then it was a dust bunny.
Which would make it something.
Exactly.
But in his search for nothing, he found something. But in reality, he found nothing.
But anyway, so you guys eventually, I guess, head back to Sigil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, in that case, we'll get ready to wrap things up here. But first, epilogue the first. 3 weeks ago, everything burns. The man standing atop the high building watches as the fire for the great pyre for the king burns him away. The king is dead. Long live whatever sucker's going to take his place. The game had been dull. It had been far too easy to end the line of the King Wilson. And the man looks over across the sea to a country he can't even see. But the fall of a kingdom, that could be a great challenge. And with that, he seems to burst into an unkindness of ravens and flies away. Epilogue Secundus. Tomorrow, an old man standing on top of another high building, his eyes focused on absolutely nothing, because what he sees is himself standing on a ledge, standing next to a gaunt, hard-faced man in a robe, staring out over the world. Tears are just flowing down his eyes. The hard-faced man standing there next to him, just says, "Thank you. I'd wanted to share this vision with someone." And the crying man just says, It's so sad. They're puppets, all of them. All of us. We're all just..." And with that, the now empty husk standing on top of a building, the mind long since gone away, burned away by the unfiltered visions of reality in the future, falls off the building, falls out of Sigil and actually into the infinite void as the spirit standing next to Victor fades away. He turns and says to the hulking figure in the shadows, "The work must continue. Contact the 13. And that's where we are going to end tonight's episode of the Expendable Crew. I really didn't think we were going to get to all of this tonight. I love when we can jump from Grog singing to the world's going to end. Be sure to catch up with Jesse and the lovely Lady Crumps later tonight, because there's a 50-50 chance they are going to finally face Strahd. Just out of curiosity, how long have they been trying to get to the final battle?
I lost count.
All right. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it because I'm doing a short film showcase in Nashville. I'll be having to head out for that soon enough. So join us all, not all of us, but join me and Kyle next week for our other game that we run, Fantasy Age Titan's Grave. And for 2 weeks, be back here because I have no idea what's going to happen here because somebody buys a chicken and decides to awaken it and buy it battle spurs. I don't have any say in what's happening in this game. But I look forward to finding out what's going to happen. So join us in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye.